show is brought to you by justinform.com, the social media site that doesn't steal your data. Don't track you on the internet. Also brought to you by Tim Black's Unpacked. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show tonight. Phone number to call up is 319-527-6212. That's 319-527-6212. Shout out to Robin W., April Hernandez, a man called David, Uli, Jilly Love, Jim Flores, April Bray, Ty Savage. Mama Alaska, how you doing, sister? Shout out to Helen Ford, Chris, Danny Hayes, Kinda, Ivan Zdowski, Rosemary. How you doing, Rosemary? Justin Folk. Susan Godwin. Margarita Silver Potts, the whole crew. Thank you all for being here. And now would be an excellent time to share this on your social media websites, on your social media profiles. I know it's scary. You don't want your friends to know you watch Tim Black, but what the hell, right? And with that, let's start the show. All right? All right. All right, we're in the house. We are in the house, folks. Yes, we are. Looks like all systems are ready to go. And I got to like to give you, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. Welcome to Freedom Friday. This is the show for anybody who doesn't know, anybody who's new. This show is a show where you get to call up and you get to speak your mind for 5 minutes. That's the max amount of time we give unless of course, you're crushing it. If you're crushing it, we give you a pass. But basically, we try to keep things to a minimum because we want to get as many callers in as humanly possible on Freedom Friday. So the phone number is 319-527-6212, and I encourage you to use that phone number right now to get in the queue. And we got a lot to get to, guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to breeze through the monologue, which will be just to sum up some of these stories, some things, some information about our current state of news, politics, what's happening in your world, before we go to phone calls. Then we go to phone calls, and you can elaborate on the topics that are discussed. Of course, since it is Freedom Friday, you have the freedom to bring up other content or other discussions. So with that, guys, let's get it going. It's been a very interesting week as far as, in the last couple of weeks actually, with a show called The Breakfast Club. And The Breakfast Club is a radio show that caters to a hip-hop audience, but also it brings on political figures and people of note, celebrities, politicians, and, of course, presidential candidates. So lately they've been bringing on some very important people. They brought on Kamala Harris. They're supposed to bring on, Kamala Harris? I'm trying to think about the other people they brought on before. Anyway, Kamala Harris's interview made national headlines because of some comments that she made. Some of those comments that she made were incendiary. Some would say it was incendiary. I think that she let her hair down on a couple of comments, and she did a little bit of pandering. And she did a little bit of playing both sides. And then there was a little bit of truth sprinkled in as well, which is sort of what we've become accustomed to with politicians where they do the word salad. So she did some word salad, and it didn't get, the feedback was less than favorable. Based on that feedback, Kamala Harris, people came out to play damage control for Kamala Harris. Bakari Sellers, who was a surrogate for Kamala Harris, came on the show by himself less than a week later to try to clean things up. Then the Breakfast Club themselves went on a media tour themselves to clear things up. And if your candidate would speak clearly, you would have to clean things up. But of course, to say that is to be a hater of women, and not to be someone, and I guess I lose my nice guy points when I bring up the obvious. with any other candidate, if you go on the national stage, if you go on a program that you know reaches millions of people, and you flub several questions, and then you piss your dad off in another country to the point where he's writing articles or being interviewed saying that you're trashing Haitians or Jamaicans. I'm sorry, Jamaicans. Well, people would call that self-inflicted wounds of a very high volume. But instead, we were called bad people for holding her accountable for what she said. So let's fast forward. Then there was Bernie Sanders. He went on the Breakfast Club. And on the Breakfast Club, he was asked some tough questions, a lot of questions. In fact, questions, and it's not always just the questions that you are asked. Sometimes it's about the way that you're asked those questions. I know because I've interviewed people who are experts at dodging or experts at political word salad, so to speak, and you really have to be up on that game. Well, Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee made no mistakes this time. They were very much on top of game. Suddenly, they knew how to ask follow-up questions when it was Bernie Sanders' turn. They asked a lot of follow-up questions, and Bernie Sanders made some comments about reparations or responses to reparation questions that a lot of people did not like. They felt that he was not as progressive as he should be. I personally support reparations. So there we go. So he caught a lot of backlash for that. There is an ADOS, hashtag ADOS movement that surrounds the American descendants of slaves and reparations, and we know we'll get more into that a little bit later. But for now, I just want to bring you up to speed. So that's where we are. Just yesterday, a great candidate by the name of Andrew Yang went on the Breakfast Club. I think it aired today, so I think they did it. They pre-recorded. It's not live, okay? But that episode aired today, and Andrew Yang, give it up for Andrew Yang, guys, because Andrew Yang, he has a very unique platform, I think, and he talks about some issues that many others apparently don't want to address. At least he addresses them in a very unique way. And as you guys know, I'm like getting over, like a cold flu type thing. So just bear with me. I'm gonna drink a lot of water tonight, but we got to have a show. The show goes on. So back to what I was saying. Andrew Yang went on the Breakfast Club, and he talked about universal basic income and robotics, the industries that are going away due to technology increasing, and this is something that can't be ignored any longer. In fact, this is going on now. Some people have the idea that the emergence of new technologies that will render a lot of the jobs that people are accustomed to, jobs that people have been working for years and years and years, almost obsolete. I mean, with the growth of technology, the introduction of artificial intelligence and robotics, there are going to be less people that are needed to do mundane tasks. This is just reality of it. So in your mind's eye, when you think about the new era, I know when I was a kid, I thought we would all be flying in spaceships by now. And we probably could be. But then what would they do with the cars? So there's always a battle between technology advancement and the actual reality of displacing workers. But there's no such concerns about displacing workers when it comes to the average working Joe. See, unlike the automobile industry that wouldn't want you to buy, that has the lobbyist monies behind them to thwart certain advancements. You understand what I'm saying? That would outprice them or price them out of the industry or price them out of the economy. If you're a truck driver, you don't have such affords. You're not afforded such considerations, so to speak. You don't have a lobbying effort on your behalf to make sure that your jobs stay. So basically, Andrew Yang was on the Breakfast Club to speak truth to power regarding robotics, artificial intelligence, and the ability to keep jobs here at home, and a plan to make it so that we're not out in the middle of the streets, that we're not in some draconian situation, or we're not in some type of dystopian reality where people are eating one another, where it's not an actual literal walking dead going on in the streets, where Mad Max doesn't become a reality. Hello? That we take care of one another in the best way we can in the world's most advanced country, at least when it comes to money, because we're not talking about ethics or empathy. We're talking about money. That's what they say. They say America's so great. We'll get to that later, too, because I read a great quote by Dr. Wolf. Dr. Wolf dropped it, Professor Wolf. Anyway, the point is this. We're all the way here. We're here now, guys. We're here. We caught up on the Breakfast Club. Those of you who never paid attention to it, maybe you'll start watching it. I'm not getting a kickback for this or anything. It's just I just want to point out the relevancy of the show And like it or not, if you think it's right that a hip-hop group or hip-hop radio, DJ Envy, a person who talks about rumors and innuendos that happen in celebrity life, Angela Yee, and then a guy who does, I don't know, shock jock type of hip-hop and talks about rap beefs is now interviewing and questioning presidential candidates. And whether you think that's cool or not, if you think that makes sense or not, that's the reality of where we actually are. So welcome to that. So I say all of that. It was a long way around the bush. All of that to say, D.L. Hughley, who's a comedian, and he's going to have a new show on the, not Lifetime, on the VH1 network where he talks about politics and he talks about things going on in the country. It's a very popular radio show. And he's also hosted shows like the Def Comedy Jam, and he's done a lot of work. And he also had a show on CNN, and you'll see him frequently on CNN. He was made a lot of waves back in, I think, 2017, where he went toe-to-toe with Megyn Kelly on the Fox News program where she ambushed him with the whole Black Lives Matter whole thing. How Black lives don't matter, do matter, and the whole thing, like, racially high-charged allegations that he had to refute. Anyway, the point is this. D.L. Hughley said something that I think was important. And this is what I want to get to, guys. This is why I brought all of that up. I brought it all up to say, people don't have a problem with what you say as long as they like who's saying it. I said people don't have a problem with what you say as long as they like the person that's saying it. Case in point, D.L. Hughley was on the Breakfast Club today, and he said, you know what, I don't really like that Bernie Sanders that much. No, I don't care that much for Bernie Sanders. No one had a problem with it. There was no pushback from DJ Envy, Angela Yee, or Charlamagne the God. He said, if Bernie's been in the Congress so long, he's been in the Senate so long, why does he have more to show for it? Note, D.L. Hughley supported Hillary Clinton in 2016 vociferously. What does she have to show for her time as as the leader of the State Department? What does she have to say for her time as a senator? I'm sure Bernie had a lot more under his resume, a lot more accomplished than Hillary Clinton, but that didn't stop D.L. Hughley for supporting Hillary Clinton. But be that as it may, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. My point is, no one has a problem with what you say as long as they like the person that's saying it. Now, they asked, Charlamagne asked D.L. Hughley, Charlamagne asked D.L. Hughley what he thought about reparations, and D.L. Hughley said, you know what, I support reparations. D.L. Hughley said, I support reparations, but I don't think it's such an issue where we should throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't think just because if a candidate doesn't support it, that means we should just throw that candidate away. This is something similar to what I've been saying, but people called me a coon when I said it. Yeah, they said I was betraying the black community just because I said I don't like Bernie Sanders' stance on reparations. I wish he was more open to the idea, considering, black folks have been discriminated against, segregated against. Military state police has been attacked or unleashed on the black community for over 300 years. It was convict leasing to Jim Crow to all these other iterations of discrimination and damn near, I would just say oppressive regime type tactics by a government that had laws on the books that restricted black people. I like to point out to folks that I am the oldest son of my family, the first son, I should say, of Anna and Milton Brooks, who had the full rights of a white guy. And I never forget that. I never forget that I was the first son born in my family who was given the full rights of every other white person in this country. And I'm not even 50 years old yet. So in less than 50 years, or 50 years ago, black folks couldn't do what I'm doing right now, which is have the ability to sit anywhere I want, move anywhere I want within reason. I mean, there's still redlining going on. So, of course, reparations is in order, and that's what I'm saying. So I support reparations, but like D.L. Hughley, I don't think we should throw away Bernie Sanders because of it. Now, D.L. Hughley said he didn't really like Bernie Sanders, but he said the same thing I said. And I'm looking at the comment section, and I don't see him being called a bunch of coons and Sambos and sellouts and all these other derogatory terms. Because like I said earlier, guys, the fact of the matter is, we don't got a problem with what you say as long as we like the person saying it. So back to back to what D.L. Hughley's saying. You know what? And it's okay. People call you what they want to call you. Just don't call me late for dinner. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it doesn't piss me off. Of course it ticks me off. But what pisses me off more is we don't have the ability to have nuance. Is we don't have the ability to see somebody that is articulating an idea that's different than you. Does that mean that that person does not consider themselves, or you shouldn't consider that person an ally? Just because you disagree on a point does not mean it's all over. No, we cannot be that way, folks. We just can't. We can't afford to be so stringent that if we have one disagreement, we just throw the baby out with the bathwater and throw the tub out behind him. This doesn't work. It won't work. Not when you are trying to build a movement. Not when you are trying to reshape a country. Not when you are trying to lead this republic towards being a democracy, because it's not truly a democracy now. You can't just be like, I'm going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's not going to work. And to my black folks specifically, it's not going to work. We are 13% of the population. I said we are 13% of the population. We're going to need some allies. It's just how it is. I'm sorry it's that way. I didn't make it that way. All right, so when I was first talking about the ADOS situation and reparations, and I noticed there was a lot of pushback about it, I said, we need the voice of someone that we can all agree is someone that we all like and someone that we all respect. And maybe if they spoke truth to power, maybe other people would see it that way and they'd understand. Maybe then we'd be a voice of reason in the room. And then we could stop being so reactionary, throwing each other away, canceling one another left and right, and saying, you know what, maybe this person has a real reason for saying this. It's not that he's selling out or that he's looking for a job in an administration, that he's trying to get a job. That's why he's saying it. Or he's kissing butt. No, maybe this person has well-founded beliefs. Maybe their value system moves them to feel the way they feel, and maybe we should respect it. I didn't say we have to agree, because we may not agree, but maybe we could respect it because we respect him. Because like I said, don't matter what you say as long as we like the person that's saying it. So to that point, Dr. Cornel West is somebody that I value, someone who I look as a mentor, someone who I think is well respected on both sides of the plane. You may not agree with them, but you will never hear a person say, well, I don't think you should, unless they're being totally disingenuous. I don't think you can ever say that Dr. Cornel West is coming from a place of manufactured insincerity and controlled opposition of anything of that like. Even if you totally disagree with his point, you will say, you know what, I think he believes that point. I think he means what he says. And it seems to be rooted in something real, not in something that's fabricated by donors or employers. That's what I feel about Cornel West. Well, Dr. Cornel West was on a podcast just a couple days ago. It was on the Intercept. And I want to play a portion of that. Hopefully won't get in too much trouble if I run that for you, but I think it's important because, like I say, you don't have a problem with what somebody says as long as you like the person that's saying it, and I think we all like Cornel West. So here goes Cornel West. Let's go to Cornel West putting it down.
He's one of America's best-known public intellectuals who's been portrayed on Saturday Night Live and appeared in 2 of the 3 Matrix movies. He calls himself a revolutionary Christian and a democratic socialist, and he's an outspoken critic of racism, white nationalism, and the US empire. Back in 2016, he campaigned alongside Bernie Sanders in the Democratic primaries, but will he be backing Bernie again this time round? Let's ask him. Dr. Cornel West, thanks for joining me on Deconstructed.
Thank you. I salute you. You force for good, my brother.
Appreciate it. Great to have you on the show, finally. Been waiting to have you on. Bernie Sanders formally announced his candidacy for President of the United States near his birthplace in Brooklyn this past weekend. You, Dr. West, famously endorsed Brother Bernie over Hillary Clinton back in 2016. Will you be backing him again this time round?
Well, as you know, I was blessed to do over 100 events for my dear brother. And this is the first time I've had a chance to publicly endorse him again. But yes, indeed, I'll be in his corner, that we're going to win this time. And it has to do with the Martin Luther King-like criteria of assessing a candidate, namely the issues of militarism, poverty, materialism, and racism, xenophobia in all of its forms. That includes any kind of racism, as you know, against black people, brown people, yellow people, anybody, Arabs, Muslims, Jews, Palestinians, Kashmirians, Tibetans, and so forth. So that there's no doubt that my dear brother Bernie stands shoulders above any of the other candidates running in the Democratic primary when it comes to that Martin Luther King-like standards or criteria.
And that's to do with the man himself. You're endorsing him as a person, as your brother. In terms of policy, is there a particular policy that you think is crucial to his campaign that makes him stand out from the rest?
No, the policies have to do with the policies against militarism, policies against poverty, the critiques of Wall Street, the consistency of his call for democratic accountability of corporate elites and financial elites, and basically the greed that we see among so many of those elites. And the same is true about racism. I want to hit this issue head on because there's been some talk about reparations, and it's true. I've supported reparations. I've been struggling for reparations for over 40 years. But I don't see an endorsement of reparations as the only precondition of fighting against white supremacy. There's no doubt that his policies will benefit poor and working people and poor and working black people and brown people more than any other candidate. And so, yes, when it comes to just reparations as a whole and a larger dialogue, certainly I'm for it. But I hope that a lot of black folk don't get confused and sit back on this issue of reparations.
Do you think you can get him to move on reparations? Because obviously he was asked on ABC's The View about whether he backed it. And he said, well, you know, we've got crises in our communities and there's other better ways to address that than by, quote, just writing out a check. And a lot of people criticized him for that, as you say. Do you think he can move on that like he's moved on other issues? That people like you might persuade him into a different position?
There's no doubt about that. But the core is ensuring that there's a fundamental transformation in the racist system under which we live so that the lives of black and brown and yellow peoples are much better. And that's the real issue. And so it seems to me I don't want reparations to be an issue that gets us away from him taking a stand on those issues so much better than any other of the other candidates.
So you say he takes a better position on those issues than other candidates. A lot of his liberal critics, liberal critics, as you know, have said for a long time, and especially in recent days, that he's not good on race issues. They say he has a blind spot when it comes to race, both in terms of his rhetoric, in terms of the people he surrounded himself with in the past. What do you say to those liberal critics as someone who has been writing and thinking about race and racism your whole life and yet is a Bernie supporter?
Well, one, it's a matter of his heart. He's an anti-racist in his heart. Two, he's old school. He's like me. He doesn't know the buzzwords. He doesn't endorse reparations one moment, in the last 30 years silent on it. He has a consistency over the years, decade after decade, and therefore it's true in his language, in his rhetoric. There are times in which he doesn't say the right thing. He doesn't use the same kind of buzzwords. But when it comes to his fight against racism, going to jail in Chicago as a younger brother, and he would go to jail again. He and I would go to jail together again in terms of fighting against police brutality. So in that sense, I would just tell my brothers and sisters, but especially my chocolate ones, that they shouldn't be blinded by certain kinds of words they're looking for. That in the end, he is a long-distance runner in the struggle against white supremacy.
Why?
Okay. Now, look, guys, I'm not showing you that, or I'm not playing that. I didn't play that to try to influence you to become a Bernie Sanders supporter. All I'm saying is that Dr. Cornel West has articulated some things maybe in a better manner than which I could do. So I'm always willing to humble myself and say that, maybe it's possible that my way of presenting something may not be the optimal way to present it, and I understand that. I respect that. And everybody, what's the saying, guys? Sometimes you need it told to you in a different voice. So what I respect so much about Dr. Cornel West is that he doesn't shy away from being critical. He doesn't shy away from being critical of Bernie Sanders, and I think we should all strive to be as biased as possible, or as unbiased as possible, but also as critical without being as vicious as we need to be. So what I'm trying to say is we shouldn't let our emotions about an individual be the focal point of our frustration. Because not one person, even Donald Trump, is not the cause of all of the strife that you may have been suffering. It's definitely not the cause of the strife for black people in America. The problems that existed for black folks in this country far exceed the lifespan of Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, believe it or not, both of them put together. So we shouldn't be blaming any individual for the situation we have in America. I'm not saying we shouldn't hold them accountable. If you are an elected official, you should be held accountable. But what I'm saying is an overboard reaction. And I don't think there's much I can do about that. And I'm not going to suggest that I'm the one to cure that. But I just want to throw that out there to the masses, that there are a lot of there just seems to be a lot of vitriol. And I think that vitriol should be focused on where it should be focused, which is our U.S. government. And our U.S. government is not one person. It's not some woman in the parking lot of Walmart using the N-word, even though we detest her and we want her to shut the hell up, and and she's a horrible individual. But she's not the cause of segregation, redlining, Jim Crow, and all the other things. In fact, if anything, she's learned this horrible sickness, this horrible condition from this same country. And when we look at our brothers and sisters, and I'm talking to my chocolate brothers and sisters, as Cornel West would say, and we say, look at this sellout and this coon, or this Sambo, or this tap dancer, getting this cornbread, or getting their biscuits, you're not thinking about the fact that this country has created that. The desperation to try to hold a job, the desperation to have a lineage of failure and of poverty has created a situation for black folks that sometimes they feel like they have no other recourse. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's what we should aspire to. It's definitely not what we should aspire to. But let's keep it real about why people do what they do. So anyway, just touching on that, I just thought it was interesting to have Dr. Cornel West weigh in on the subject. I don't expect him to change many minds. I just like the fact that when he speaks his mind, it's hard to just call him a coon. He's been fighting for justice longer than most of us been alive. So anyway, on to the next one. I also want to point out, H.R. 40 has a new iteration. I want to talk about H.R. 40 real quick because once again, we're having these conversations. So H.R. 40 is H.R., House Resolution. It's not a bill, it's a House Resolution. A commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. This is not a new act. This is not a new reparations idea. This idea, reparations, has been something people have been fighting for 40 years. I saw it rear its head in 2016. Those who didn't pay attention in 2016, you missed it, because we were talking about this then too, and we were talking about it in 2012. Though I wasn't part of the conversation in 2012. In 2016, I supported it again here, coming up in 2020. But anyway, back to the HR. Now, we're in the 116 Congress. If you go to the website to look up this resolution, you'll see that there was other iterations of it. The 115 Congress, there's a different version, there are different signatures. The co-sponsors to the current state of the HR 40, which is, like I stated, it's been around for like 40 years, introduced by Representative Conyers out of Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, has a lot of sponsors. And one of those sponsors, folks, according to all my information, is none other than presidential candidate, Representative of Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard. And Tulsi Gabbard is sponsoring the bill, I want to say that's a good look on behalf of Tulsi Gabbard, because I think that it is beneficial. I think it is important for us to start this conversation, to move this forward. But even Tulsi Gabbard sponsoring this bill does not change the fact that There have been others who have sponsored this bill and it has never moved past being a resolution. It has never made it past committee. But we still have people in Congress, don't we? So why do we still have people in Congress? Because we're fired up now, we're pissed off now. Why do we still have people in Congress who are sitting in seats that they have sat in for so long, and we have this bill on the deck, and those people still have seats, and this bill has not been approved. This bill has not been passed, even when the Democratic Party had both the House and the Senate. Just a question. But now we want to say that this is a litmus test. This should have been a litmus test 4 years ago, 2 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago. It could have. If this was something we feel strongly about, it should have been a litmus test for a long time. I'm not saying this should be. I'm saying those people who are making the litmus test now, it just kind of makes me kind of puzzled. Because it should be a litmus test. I mean, that's the way I see it. But like, once again, anybody can say anything as long as you like the person that's saying it. So, Tulsi Gabbard, whose campaign I definitely support. And look, guys, hey, look, I haven't told anyone who I'm voting for at this point because I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I interviewed Andrew Yang, and I liked his ideas. I think his ideas are novel and interesting and what is needed in moving this country forward. I like Andrew Yang. Tulsi Gabbard is another candidate that I like. When I say like them, I don't mean them as a person. I don't know those people as persons. I've never met anybody, any of these candidates have I met in person. What I like is their policies. What I like is what they appear to stand for. So I like Tulsi Gabbard, and as we all know, the reason why I catch grief it's because I also like Bernie Sanders. Never catch grief for liking Andrew Yang or for liking Tulsi Gabbard, but for some reason I catch grief for liking Bernie Sanders. It's really weird. Someone who doesn't get a lot of talk, a lot of discussion around their name, but I think that's going to change is Senator Elizabeth Warren. And what I'm saying is she gets a lot of talk and conversation, but it hasn't been about her presidential bid. Yeah, she's running for president as well. And she recently talked about some legislation she wants to introduce that would break up some major corporations that we know very well. Google, Amazon, Apple. Yeah. I was like, wow, okay. What I find amazing about Senator Elizabeth Warren floating the idea of this legislation that will break up these huge corporations that control way too much of our business, our transactions, of our privacy, of our security, so much that they handle, that these corporations, not to mention all of the tax loopholes that they dodge through. And hell, they're not loopholes for them. These are driveways that they just casually drive through. These are walkways that just casually stroll down. These are not loopholes. Loopholes are something you got to wiggle to. The average American, hard-working person, whoever you are out there, you finding a way to avoid paying a certain amount of taxes take you to go to HRR Block. That's pretty cool. What I'm trying to say is these corporations don't have a hard time avoiding paying taxes. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So Elizabeth Warren is doing that. So she's back on her thing, and I think that's good. I like anyone who challenges the status quo. I like anyone who's challenging the establishment. That's where my money is. That's where my heart is. That's what I am. I'm a revolutionary. You may not agree with me, but that's what I am. That's what I strive to be every day. So I'd like to give a shout out to Elizabeth Warren for being on the right side of that. I don't know where that's going to go. I don't know what we're going to do, but I like the idea of breaking up some of the control that these corporations have. Now, just a quick aside, Tim Pool, formerly of Vice, was on the Joe Rogan podcast opposite Jack Dorsey, the Jack of Twitter, and VJ. And I forget VJ's name, but VJ looks to be some type of consultant or some type of regulatory person or someone who works for Jack Dorsey for Twitter. And they had a conversation, they had a lengthy conversation about how Twitter functions. And Tim Pool was bringing up all of these instances of what appears to be bias for the left and distaste for conservatives and how conservatives are treated on the platform. And I just find it interesting. And I tweeted out like, wow, was Senator Elizabeth Warren watching the Joe Rogan podcast and said, ooh, the young people, they're pissed off with the Twitter. Let's break them up. So I thought that was very interesting. What else do we have, guys? What else do we have? So back to Tulsi Gabbard real quick. So Tulsi Gabbard, HR 40, she's a co-sponsor, along with a couple other people. Rashida Tlaib is a sponsor, a new sponsor. So is Ayanna Pressley is a new sponsor. Both of those freshman Congress people just joining. They signed on, so that's good, right? That's a good thing. Tulsi Gabbard, aside from signing on to this legislation or this resolution on February 26th, she's also going to be on CNN, a town hall for CNN, these South by Southwest. So 3 contenders for the 2020 Democratic nomination will answer questions at a town hall in Austin, Texas, moderated by Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. All right, so this is going to happen on Sunday, March 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Delaney, okay, hold on. CNN announced a partnership with Annual Conference Thursday in Texas, capital city. They're going to be three. So you're going to get 3 in one night. Representative John Delaney out of Maryland, my representative. Representative Tulsi Gabbard out of Hawaii. And South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg. So at 7 o'clock we got Delaney, 8 o'clock we got Tulsi, and at 9 o'clock we got Buttigieg. All right? So tune into that. And I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you this or not. I think it's okay to tell you. Tulsi Gabbard will be on the Stephen Colbert Show on Monday. Okay. All right. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to kind of just throw against the wall and hit you with. And kind of just give you updates on. Regarding these debates, did you hear the one about the DNC saying they will not let Fox News have an actual debate on their network because they feel that the Fox News is too cozy with the Trump administration? You hear about this? I find it ironic and also hypocritical as hell because I feel that CNN is too close with the DNC as well as is MSNBC. But you don't see any pulling of debates from those two organizations. I mean, wasn't it the CNN with Rolly Martin and Donna Brazile? And hell, Donna Brazile came on my show and admitted that she passed the question to Rolly Martin. Why isn't the DNC restricting CNN from getting a town hall or a debate? I'm just saying. I mean, if you want to be, consistent, if you want to be, not a hypocrite, maybe that'd be an issue. Instead, what they're doing is they're saying, well, we won't work with you if you work with Roland Martin, which is crazy, which is something I saw about the National African American Broadcasters or something, journalists organization, the NABJ organization, something like that. CNN refuses to work with NABJ as long as they are affiliated with Roland Martin. So I find that interesting. And don't get me wrong, Roland Martin is off-putting as hell a lot of times, but don't use him as an excuse not to bring black people in. Come on, man. Come on, buddy. Is that all we got? I think that's all we got. Phone number is 319-527-6212. 319-527-6212. My phone number is not on my screen anymore because I tried to rebuild this whole setup because we kept crashing. And we'll see if it works in a second. Joe Biden, guys. Joe Biden. People don't like Joe Biden as much as Joe Biden think they like Joe Biden. Yeah, people don't like Joe Biden as much as Joe Biden thinks they like Joe Biden. They're not going for his whole, oh, shucks, I'm just a regular guy. Regular guy Joe. They're not really going for it because regular guy Joe is a corporate Wall Street darling. That's what he is. And he has a sordid past of anything from private prisons to mass incarceration to disrespecting of women and misogyny and a whole grocery list of creepy photos and creepy video footage that will definitely surface. I was recently watching a town hall, a CNN event where they interviewed a number of Democrat voters. They were asking them who did they like, who did they see themselves supporting in the 2020 election. And a couple of them vocally spoke out and said it will not be Joe Biden. Well, none of them raised their hand and said that they want Joe Biden to join, and a couple were like, hey, it's really Joe Biden's time to walk away. Yeah, so it was very interesting to have what looked like, what sounded a lot to me like moderate Democrats for the most part, having a gag reflex to the idea of Joe Biden being the nominee or even running. But as we know, or if you've been following my show, you'll know I've covered content where they say that Joe Biden is the front runner, even though he's not even in the race. The whole idea that Joe Biden, VP of the Obama administration, an administration that is responsible for so much death and murder, an administration that sold us one thing and gave us another, just goes to show you how well insulated the American people, the general American public, is insulated from the realities of the administration if they want you to be. Like, things about Trump people know, you would never know about that if it was happening under Obama. Because a lot of the things that you are upset about were happening under Obama. You just didn't know about it because, as I just stated, one thing about the Obama administration is that the media insulated the public from knowing the realities of the actual administration that was in rule. So that is where I say, hey, what about the correlation or the colluding between the DNC and corporate media, i.e. CNN, i.e. MSNBC? Because how could all of a sudden we be upset about drone strikes when we were drone striking the hell out of countries under Obama? And actually, I'm being facetious because, hell, we all know Democrats don't care about drone strikes. They don't care about war. War is cool with them. For some reason, they bought into this idea, guys, and it's not because they're bloodthirsty animals. That's the Republicans. The idea is that Democrats actually think when we go to war, we're going to war for peace. Yeah, they think that we're killing people for peace. I love you. Boom, you're dead. That's what they think. They think that actually it's a humanitarian effort when we see a drone strike that kills babies. Good job, good job. This way to love babies is to drop bombs on them. Yeah, well, you know, like 90% of our drone strikes hit unintended targets. Hey, it's the cost of showing you love somebody. But yeah, there's a lot, folks, and that's just one thing. We could talk a lot. We could talk about Flint. I mean, what would America do? What would be the reaction if there was a new Flint? Hell, I feel almost embarrassed, or not embarrassed isn't the word. I feel almost ashamed of myself to say a new Flint because we have a current Flint. It's not even an old Flint. It's the same damn Flint. But what I'm trying to get to in a way, a circle. I guess I'm taking too long to get to it. But what I'm trying to say is, what would America do if they found out there was a Flint under Trump? Yeah, like if that whole thing came under Trump and Trump went to the apex of the problem, right there, and drank some water, at least pretended to drink it, spit it back in the glass, and said, "It's all good. You guys have a good one now. Everything's good." What if he did that? It would be everywhere. He would be hated. But since it was Obama, people were like, and that's my point. Nobody has a problem with what you say as long as they like the person saying it. So, yeah. And there's so many other things we could talk about. We could talk about the deportations. Everybody calling Donald Trump a racist because of the deportations and the splitting up of families, even though the same thing was happening under Obama. Just wasn't being talked about. But I guess because Obama was brown, he could be called a racist, so it really didn't work for them. So it's not all about money, guys. Some of it's about what'll get you clicks and views. And you better believe CNN and MSNBC are all about those clicks and views. So anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, guys, 319-527-6212. I don't know, I'm feeling a certain kind of way. I really am about how much we get lied to. It is really taking its toll. I think I just had it up to here with it, you know? I don't know about you guys. It's hard, though, because I don't like Donald Trump, but I also don't like lies. I don't like people pretending, you know, and sometimes I hate waking people up out of their stupor because I realize that they are in a stupor. You know, I want them to come out of the matrix. You know, I do, but in a way I kind of envy not knowing, you know. You know, it was kind of great to believe in Santa Claus, even though I didn't. I've never believed in Santa Claus because my family wasn't. My family was religious, real religious, where they didn't allow us to worship fantasies. But, which is kind of painful in itself. It kind of proves my point. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I feel about. That's the way I feel about people. You know, sometimes when I got to wake people up to Obama realities that they're not really ready for, or I got to tell people, hey man, you don't blame Bernie for the fact that we don't have reparations. He want to be president. He'll never be president if he fights for reparations. Why you think why you think it hasn't been passed up to now? Try that. Why didn't you do that shit with Hillary? She was the worst, man. Now, if it was Hillary, I'd be fine with it because I don't expect our condition to change because her policies are not like Bernie Sanders' policies. Would have been fine for you to push that envelope with Hillary. Perfect. But Bernie's different. I believe that Bernie's actually going to go in there and get some shit done that's going to help. That's why I don't want that to be a litmus test for him because I actually think he's about the litmus test. Like he's about to do some things if he's given an opportunity to. But if the DNC has their way, they will destroy him. And they're using your voice, your vocal, your anger to make sure that doesn't happen. And that's why I'm upset about it. But I understand that you haven't fully woken up to the reality of this politics, how it's played. So they got you, it's all dirty. It's all dirty. So the enemy of your enemy is your friend. That type of thing. And I anyway, guys, I hope I got a call in the queue. I know I'm going to get a chance to run my mouth some more. And after I haven't had a show in a couple of days, so I come up really charged up. You know what I mean? I'm really pumped up and really ready to go. But I'm going to the first caller in the queue. I'm going to start with you. I got a 11111 number in the house. 111. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hey Tim, Hyphen Gunn of Brooklyn, New York. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Fine myself. Although the things with this whole campaign, of course, let's say with Bernie, he's firing things up, and I still hope he's not going to be cheated. And I'm also hoping for Tulsi Gabbard too, even though with all that disgusting smears that happened from the past and everything. I really hope those disgusting Dems don't cheat our favorite progressive candidates to be president, of course. If they have to put in a neoliberal to be the nominee, just like what they did with Clinton. Otherwise, we'll have Trump again. Bloody hell. And also, another thing I wanted to say is, I did glance and looked at a little bit of, let's say, Joe Rogan with a guy named Tim Pool. He's a very good independent journalist who used to work for Vice, of course, who had Jack Dorsey in Joe Rogan's show. Joe Rogan's show, of course. They were confronting him about the censorship. And, the thing with Jack Dorsey, along with any people with the social media giants and everything they founded, with this whole censorship thing, it's really disgusting by being so liberal biased. And although you have alternative social media networks that's better than them, well, not better, but not as perfect as the one by Mark Zuckerberg, Dorsey, or the people who founded YouTube, of course. Even though I try to look at BitChute, of course, it's still kind of annoying, even though it's not as popular as YouTube. Gab, I never look at, and mine's not so much. But you get the idea, though. But thanks for your time, man.
Hey, man, thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it. And that gives me a perfect opportunity. It gives me a perfect opportunity, my brother, to plug justinform.com, right? So justinform.com is a social media site. In the same vein as a Facebook, as the same vein as a BitChute, in the same vein as a Minds.com. But it's owned by activists and journalists, and I'm one of the owners of the website. So go to justinform.com. We never sell your privacy. We don't look into, we don't look into your messages. We don't track you around the internet. All I'm encouraging you to do is use a real email address because we verify email addresses because we want to make sure we vet people so we don't have a bunch of trolls on our website. What other social media website tries to ensure that you're actually talking to real people and not trolls or bots? Yeah, bots, not trolls, bots. None, except for justinform.com. So go to justinform.com, check that out. If you want to know the spelling of that, it's right here. That's it right there. Okay. Back to our phone calls, man. 917, you're live on Freedom Friday. What's going on?
Yo, Tim Black, it's your boy KJ, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
My man. How you feeling, KJ?
I'm feeling good, brother. How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm getting better.
It's good. I want to touch base on what you were talking about with the media. To be quite honest with you, as we all know, the media basically took a nice 8-year vacation under Obama. And the reality is, even though most people wanted it that way, especially that were followers of Obama, sadly, it did a serious disservice to not only those people, but the entire country and system that we are working under. Because the reality is, and I'm all for it, I think that it's great. Now, all of a sudden, they're charged up and ready to go because they hate Trump so much. And whatever the motivation need be, you know what? It's about time journalists actually started doing their job, because God knows they didn't do shit under Obama. So I think it's good. And I don't have a problem with people, let's face it, in any format, there's going to be, I'd say, 30% of them are just complete, bumbling idiots. And they're just, especially in this era now where, it's not get the story right, it's just get it fast or first. And so we have so many media outlets now that are a joke, but, there's going to be all those, type of people reporting and all the sensationalized and outrage reporting and all that BS. But I don't have a problem with it in the sense that at least the journalists and the media, whether they're slandered or not, they're actually doing their job. So that's a good thing. And hopefully they'll do the same when there's another Democratic president in the future. I doubt it, but it'd be nice to see that, because the reality is when they don't report, especially what was going on under the Obama era with Hillary Clinton, especially as Secretary of State. I mean, that's and there was a lot of outlets reporting the stuff, obviously not the mainstream. And that was definitely part and parcel of why so many Americans turned and voted for President Trump. So the reality is, if the MSN doesn't cover the reality of what's going on in a White House, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, the info is going to be out there. We live in a world now where you can get the info, and that's pretty much the reality of it. And these reporters, I'm all for them doing their job and going after any government, so I don't have a problem with it at all. But like I said, I mean, just on what you were talking about, they definitely did a disservice to most people, especially a lot of young people who kind of grew up in that era of Obama. So say you were just right out of high school, maybe freshman in college when Obama first got elected. You basically spent 8 years being spoon-fed basic stories about not much of what was going on in the reality of the White House. So you grew up in this era where everything's like a softball pitch to you, and you're not getting really hard news. And, it's just, what I'm saying? And that's, again, like I say, it's a disservice to people, because it made these younger people think, oh, this is just how it is. And everything's peachy keen at the White House. And no, everyone's all fine and nobody's killing nobody and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden Trump comes in and the media, they're swinging at the fences every chance they have. Right. And, so now these people are like, what the hell? Is this guy this bad? No, it's not that Trump's this bad. It's all of a sudden the media went from going 2 miles an hour reporting to 10,000 miles an hour. So, but at the end of the day, people, see through all this now. It takes young people a little while to get it, because, they're so easily swayed and molded, especially when you're going to a college that most go to that are just, being brainwashed. So, but as far as what you were talking about with Biden, I'd love to see Biden run. Oh, that'd be awesome. Maybe you could have Kamala Harris as his VP. Yeah, okay, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. They could tell everyone how they could sing Kumbaya, but yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. But appreciate you taking my call, brother. Have a great night.
And you too, man. Thank you for calling up, man. Always a pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure. Yeah, I just want to point out that Joe Biden has ran for president 3 times. And if he runs again, it'll be his 4th time. I mean, just for the record. So is there a little bit of sexism going on with Biden? That there are people that want Joe Biden to run even though he's lost 3 times? Obviously, because he's not president. 1984, he ran against Jesse Jackson. 1988, 2008, 1, 2, 3, right? Yeah, something like that. I think that's accurate. I know it was 3 times. But see, he can run 3 times. And, hey, come on back, run again. We want you. Hillary ran twice. People are like, oh my God, get out of here. Don't get me wrong. You got to know by now I'm not a Hillary supporter, but what I'm just pointing out is the hypocrisy of certain individuals. And why isn't no one in the media talking to you about it? Like, hey, how many times is this guy going to run? And don't tell me you're doing it for America. America don't want you, man. We had enough. We had enough. So, anyway. I want to point out also that Tulsi Gabbard, isn't it something how every show she goes on, they try to get her to say something bad about Assad? They want to continue this fallacy that Assad gassed his own people, even though all the media outside of the United States and many other parts of the world, they say, hey, there's no proof that Assad gassed his own people. It's like, it's almost as if America is just a warlike country. It just wants war, even if it's wrong, even if it makes no sense, even if we have no valid reason. We just want war. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go to the next call. I got another 917 number in the queue. Yes, I do. 917, you're live on Freedom Friday. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hey, Tim, can you hear me?
I hear you, my friend. How are you?
Oh, what's up, Tim? No, I'm not Brooklyn-based. I'm Lower East Side, so another New Yorker, I guess.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. How you feeling?
I'm just laughing. First off, I'll make a quick point. I want to use up all the 5 minutes because, I'd rather have a discussion with you. But first off, if Biden runs, I would actually pay to see Biden run. Why? He spent the last 5 months just crapping on the left. Oh, these young people don't understand how hard it was back in my time. It's like, we have 10 wars. You had 1. College wasn't that expensive. Yeah, I think we have the general idea. Like, he's just been crapping on the left nonstop. So I would love to see him run and try to go, no, I'm progressive. It's like, there's this thing called the internet, right? It take us 3 seconds to load up a video of you, But I wanted to make a quick point, which was this was a thing about 2 weeks ago or so when you were talking about Elizabeth Warren's plan for the black community, but you had like phone line problems.
Yeah. Talk to me.
Right. So here's the thing I wanted to point out. Like, I think her plan is great, right? But here's the caveat. No matter how great her plan is, it's always going to be, oh, where are we getting the money? Where are we getting the money? The problem is, this is where I lean more towards Tulsi, is until we stop all these wars, until we stop bloating up the military budget, we're not going to be able to afford anything. So she could have the perfect plan. But if she's also pushing the pro-war, pro-narrative, and she supported like an increase in the military budget bill. I mean, you can't then claim like, oh, we'll find it somehow. It's like you actually have to stop the war machine first, then we can start moving on from there. So I'm not opposed to her plan. It's just like you got to be more realistic as to where you're coming from with it. But no, you're right on Tulsi Gabbard. Just like 3 or 4 points. It was just, yeah, of course on CNN they're gonna try to come at her. Hopefully CNN this time discloses if there's any people working for the DNC. We know from when they did with Bernie, it was like, oh, did we not disclose it? That's our bad. It's like, no, they'll probably do the same thing. But of course, Tulsi's gonna be asked the whole like regime change narrative. And she had an interview, I think, a while back with Jordan Sheridan, and that's where she was a lot more focused, which was when they're talking about like the whole Venezuela thing. She was on point, and she has to be ready for that because it's like, oh, you're talking Venezuela. Okay, well, let me tell you who's leading that humanitarian charge. We got John Bolton, who led us into the Iraq War, and we got Elliot Abrams, the man who was literally smuggled guns into Nicaragua in the 80s under the guise of humanitarianism. You're going to tell me suddenly these people care about, democracy. It's like Bolton was on Fox Business and said, hey, we're going to see what the oil companies in America can get in Venezuela. You know, and she also has to be ready when they're going to talk about Libya. You know, hey, this was all based on a lie. There's sex trafficking, ISIS, blah, blah, blah. You know, so that's where I'm like, she has to be ready for all that CNN, you know, garbage. But then I think the DNC was going to retaliate against her because remember, she was their golden girl at the time, and she stepped down, calling out their corruption. And I have no doubt they're going to try some form of retaliation against her.
Oh, absolutely.
But one last thing is Trump doesn't realize he's lost his base, and this is where I wanted to see if you'd agree with me, because a small minority of it, I mean, I'm sure I don't have the statistics, but I'm sure a small minority did support him because he was straight up, I'm against war. Like, I want to bring the troops home. He just doubled down today, like, oh, we're going to keep troops in Syria. No one's an idiot. We can see the yo-yo effect in Afghanistan. Oh, it's 14,000, it will be 7,000, then back to 14,000. So I think he needs his base, and he's kind of more or less lost a small portion of that base of who are non-intervention. I mean, what do you think on that?
Wow, I think that you may have a point, my brother. You know, I've been under the weather, man, and then I was working on some stuff. I didn't realize that he did that. That's very unfortunate that Trump, you know, I'm very disappointed that he would go back on his word on that. You know, yeah, it's very, very disappointing. I mean, you try to look and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to get what I can get out of this presidency. You know, whatever it is, and anything positive that you can glean from it, you want to glean that from it. I mean, you know, we don't have time. We don't want to take years off because somebody else is in office or whoever it is, somebody you didn't vote for is in office. Doesn't mean you want to, you know, take the world off, like you just go to sleep and hibernate for 4 years. So, of course, I want Trump to do good things for the country, right? Do good things for the country while you're in there. Go do that. And so, of course, I'm a peace. Well, not of course, but I am for peace, and I am anti-regime change. So I'm disappointed in it. I do want to make one comment about what you said about the budgeting, about the military and the military-industrial complex. We need to rein that in before we can make changes domestically. And I just want to say that, you know, MMT, right? So the MMT people have always been at me telling me to get involved with MMT. Modern monetary theory, right? So we have a fiat currency, which means basically we can print as much money as we see fit. So if we want to print more money, we can print more money. We print more money all the time. Hell, the Pentagon lost how much money? $2 trillion. I don't know how much money they lost. They just went away. Well, that money, there you go. Nothing stopped working, did it? The Pentagon lost over $1 trillion, right? And nothing stopped because we print our own money, man. So, you know, the people start talking about inflation and all these other things. Right? So, I think no one asked how much it costs to drone strike. You know, so no one should ask how much it costs if you want to give free college. That is an investment. All of the things that we talk about are investments. In fact, you know what? I need to dig in further about Elizabeth Warren, though, because I know it's something about redlining. She wants to counter redlining that has happened in the past and happening now. I don't know exactly how she plans to do that, but most of the social programs that I'm attracted to, those are investments. If you have a healthier society because more people are able to have access to health care, those people are less of a strain on the country, and they're able to work for longer periods of time or not retire, work longer, or generate more income because they're healthier people. They're alive. They can contribute to society. If you have free college tuition, whatever, like free college, free local college, 2-year universities or 4-year universities, that means people are going to be more educated and be able to go to school. But and maybe get better jobs, and from those better jobs, they're able to provide for their families more, which means they need less social programs, actually. So education and health, to me, are not, those are investments in America. You know, those are like putting stock. It's just, you know, you get it on the back end. It comes back to you, you know, and sort of like Andrew Yang. People say, why would you support Andrew Yang giving money to people giving everybody $1,000? I'm like, well, people are going to spend that $1,000. They're going to take that $1,000 and put it back into the economy. You know, revitalizing or redistribution of wealth or whatever, but it rejuvenates. I think it just rejuvenates the circle of, you know, money in our communities, and we need that. So, but I don't think that's everything that needs to be done, because I also think, well, people need to be able to start businesses. And I think we need to give, particularly in the inner city, in black communities, we need more business opportunities. So, and I know Trump is working on some of that stuff. You know, it doesn't get talked about a lot, but I heard something about some urban renewals that Trump was doing. I'm not, you know, I need to actually duplicate myself so I have more time to do more investigations, more studies, and or at least maybe get a cash infusion so I can hire some people, right? I can actually pay people to do stuff for the show so we can actually have our own reporters. That's where I want to get to, but I'm not there yet. But anyway, I want to thank you, my friend, for calling up. I appreciate it. Let's go to the next call. We got a 754 number in the queue. 754, you're live. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hello, Tim. This is Michael Angelo Hamilton from the great state of Florida. How are you, Tim?
Man, I'm good, Hamilton. How you feeling?
I'm good. I hope everything's been going good. My spring break is ending, you know. But, you know, I'm in the South Florida area, you know. We spoke before a couple times. We met a couple, one time in person. Yeah, man. I'm excited for Bernie 2020. You know, I'm excited for that. But, you know, like what you were saying, a lot of the callers were saying as well, that, you know, I don't trust the DNC that much, you know. I re-registered as a Democrat, gave him some, you know, little dollars that I had, you know. I'm a college student. So, you know, so, like, you know, I'm supporting Bernie, but, like, at the same time, I'm like, I'm crossing my fingers that the DNC doesn't screw this over again. But, yeah, we definitely need more young people in politics, for sure. And with the whole March for Our Lives and stuff like that, that has been, like, pushing people to become more involved and, like, be active in politics, because that's where the decisions are made, you know. So I just wanted to give you a shout out for all the hard work you're doing in independent media, and for you to keep up the good work. And you know, I'm not going to say it for sure now, but you might be hearing things from me in the next couple months, and you'll be one of the first people to know, Tim. So I'll keep you updated on that. But I just wanted to give you a shout out and, you know, talk to you, because it's been a while. You know, I saw your little notification, and I wanted to call in and let you know how's everything going.
Hey, man, I'm getting over like a little congestion and cold, man, but I'm feeling good, man. I'm on the right side of the dirt, so I'm feeling pretty good, man.
All right, man. All right, and definitely go Bernie.
You know it, man. And thank you, Michelangelo, for the phone call, man. We appreciate you. Good to hear from you out there in South Florida. That's out there near my man Tim Canova and Peter Hager, right? And was it Nico's out there? Right. Also, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Debbie Wasserman Nopes. She's out there. Who else is out there? Donna Myers? Stephanie Myers. Stephanie Myers is out there in Florida. Also, Elijah Manley's out there. And whatever happened to my man, Jeff, man? Jeff Gator, Miami Gator. What happened to Jeff, man? No, he was out there. He was campaigning with Andrew Gillum. And he believed in Gillum, man. He thought Gillum would be a better mayor. And he caught a lot of backlash online because he supported Gillum, and Gillum was seen sitting with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. He's like, what can you do, man? So you got to be hesitant, man, when you, you know, online they'll crucify you. Yeah, crucify you. But I'm sure it's more to it than that, so I'm not trying to get in the middle of it. I'm just saying I remember once upon a time where everything was cool, and then it just went bad. So, all right, I'm going to go to the next call, guys. I got a 907 number in the house. I got to find out who this is. Hey, 907, you're live, Freedom Friday. What's your name? What's your comment? Hey. 907, you all right? You ain't falling out on me, are you? Something don't sound right, 907. Somebody get a medic to the house of 907. Something don't sound right. And I'm only half joking. That didn't sound good. That didn't sound good at all. I mean, I don't know how long I had him on hold. Maybe I had him on hold way too long. Feel me? 407, you're live on Freedom Friday. What's your name? And what's your name?
Alex.
Hey, Alex. What's up, guy?
Another Florida guy calling in. But I was listening to you talk about T.L. Hughley, and, you know, I don't understand with him because, like, he
hey,
posted something on his...
Alex, you okay?
What? Yeah, I have a disability, so.
Okay. I hope you're okay, man. But go ahead, my brother. What's up about D.L. Hughley, man? What's up?
What I know, kid, is like, he posted on Instagram that he's saying that, he's supporting, AOC, and AOC and Bernie have the same policies, so I just don't understand that. And, can you talk about the situation with, Walmart, getting rid of greeters?
Ilhan Omar?
Hello?
Ilhan Omar? The congresswoman out of Minnesota?
No, the situation with Walmart getting rid of their greeters.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that, man. Why?
Yeah, they're, I'm disabled, so that it's...
Yeah, but no, what I mean is, why would they...
So.
What I'm saying, Alex, is why the hell would they do that? That's part of Walmart. Like, that's part of America's...
Yeah.
Like, that's like apple pie almost at this point.
To save money, how that trickle down is really working.
Cheap bastards.
So.
Okay, I'll talk about it, Alex.
All right.
Thank you for the phone call, Alex.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, boss. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too now, Alex. All right, so let's just make one thing straight, sometimes I make mistakes because I don't realize how devious people are, right? So people are very devious. A lot of people are very devious. I know you watch this show, you're probably a great person. But there are a lot of people who are cutthroat as hell. They will steal from you, rob from you, lie on you, do whatever they can to extract from you in order to replenish or enrich themselves. That is the nature of some people, right? I say that to say that is Walmart. That is Walmart. That's what they're about. Walmart makes billions and billions of dollars. Profit. And they cannot afford to employ our most vulnerable citizens that are almost synonymous with Walmart. Like, when I think greeter, I think a person who's challenged, who has this opportunity to be in this position where they get to do a job that I'm familiar with. I'm familiar with them doing their job. Everybody, I think, who goes to a Walmart, who's ever been in a Walmart, is accustomed to being greeted by a physically challenged person, a person in this situation who is being productive, being active, being able to make an income of some sort. And I know they're underpaid as hell, as is most employees at Walmart. But the fact that they want to zero out these employees for no other reason than we need to save money don't make sense at all to me, other than the fact, as I stated, there are people who are horrible people in one degree or the other, where the focus is always about money, focus is always about profit, and they will extract and siphon whatever goodwill out of you. And it's a horrible thing, Alex. All I can say is horrible, brother. And thank you for the phone call, though. I had no idea. It just feels like sometimes, like, you're not one of those people naturally. Naturally, you're one of those open people that like doing stuff, helping people, assisting people, being a friend. And then you got other people who are the opposite. They are naturally not that way. They're the other people. They're the people that take advantage of the people who are open and offering and giving. So Walmart is of those people, but Walmart is not uniquely that way. They're not uniquely bad. There are many other bad corporations. There are many other bad institutions. Basically, there are many other bad people. So I'm going to go to the next call, but I appreciate you, Alex, for running it down. I have a 343 number in the queue. 343, you're live on Freedom Friday. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hey, Tim Clark. It's your friend from Kingston, Ontario, Patrick Sagan. How are you doing today, Tim? I'm glad you're feeling better, by the way, bro.
Hey, thank you, brother. How are you?
Doing all right. Got my surgery coming up on the 25th of this month. I'm going to be having the rest of my thyroid removed. But not about me. It's about the ladies. Today is International Women's Day, and I want to holler at the strong women that are in the Congress right now for the Democrats, the progressives like Rashida Tlaib, Ocasio-Cortez, And of course, Elon Omar standing truth to power. And also, too, I want to give a special shout out to someone who's in jail today that didn't respond to the secret court or hearings actually in the States in regards to WikiLeaks. And that would be the illustrious Chelsea Manning, who's been jailed, I think, for 18 months is the conviction now because she didn't answer the questions in today's court hearing. And I just want to give her a shout out. Hopefully everything's okay with her, and hopefully she'll be released or something, you know. At least she speaks up to convictions and says up to people and truth to power. And especially what Trudeau was going through, there's been women that going against him today, like the former attorney general that went after him, stating that he's been as a criminal with his little scandal that's going on. And speaking of WikiLeaks, one of the conservative members for the Member of Parliament here in Canada was referring to Trudeau giving money to the Clinton Foundation. And guess there's been some controversy that ended up with him speaking out of term in regards to the WikiLeaks emails in regards to the Clinton Foundation, since Trudeau does give money to the Clinton Foundation, but in regards to the old trope, the old meme about Pizzagate. Andrew Scheer, the conservative leader of Canada, used Pizzagate against our own Prime Minister in regards to giving money to the Hillary Clinton Foundation. I'm just like, wow, this is getting way out of hand. Like this is politics, but that's just brutal. That's just like going after the jugular, so to speak. You know what I'm saying, man? But I want to say Happy International Women's Day. And to the Elon Omar, who's been speaking truth to power, especially with Israel-Palestine issue and truth about war, and like Tulsi Gabbard and other people who are very progressive, who are anti-war, who are very feminine, and who are exactly what we need today in this world, is a woman president who is anti-war, like Tulsi Gabbard, to stand up to the war machine and actually get our troops from Canada, United States, and everywhere else in the world home, to be with our families for one more time. So anyways, you have yourself a great weekend, Tim, and get better, and hopefully we'll see you back doing some streams next week. But brother, have a good one.
All right, you take it easy, man. Thank you for the phone call, man, and good luck with your surgery. Hope everything goes well. Okay, so congratulations to the women. Shout out to the women on the International Women's Day. Thank you for the reminder. And yes, women they matter, obviously. At least if it's not obvious, they do matter. And if you are that stupid to believe that women don't matter, well, you have a problem. But I have to push back, not on you specifically, my friend, but on this whole notion, hey, a woman president, you know? How can I say this? I don't fault women who want a woman president. I don't fault women who want a woman president. I think it would be hypocritical to fault women because they want a woman president. I just believe that there are such a high diversity and a high caliber of women that are available in this country. Be careful which woman you choose for that role. Yeah, that's what I like to say. So, yes, you know, it shouldn't just be anybody. It's got to be somebody who's, you know, ethical, stands up for the people, is going to fight for the people, get in and risk their life for the people. Risk their life for the people. Put their life on the line for the people. I'm not so certain we have that type of person in the office now. In fact, I don't think Trump will risk his life for the people. I don't think Obama was risking his life for the people. Not at all. But I do find it hilarious that Donald Trump and I think it was Donald Trump and Ivanka Trump gave money to Kamala Harris's campaign. Thought that was funny. And I mean back when she was running for Senate or Attorney General. One of those, right? Let's find that hilarious. But now he's, racist, oh my God. He wasn't racist when he was giving to your campaign, though. I think it was all love when it was the money. Oh, you giving me the money, dog? Thank you so much. Hey. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know, oh, this racist bastard, this horrible, horrible president is ripping the country apart. He was ripping you apart when you was collecting, getting that money from him. No, it was fine. So I just find it very hypocritical. But thank you so much, my brother, for calling in and mentioning the women. And Chelsea is one tough cookie, huh? She's just one tough cookie all the way around. Chelsea Manning has been through enough. I think we can all agree that she's been through way more than a human being should have to go through. And I do not wish this on her at all. Next call. 561. You're live, 561. What's your name and what's your comment?
Okay, guys. Thank you. Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? You know what? I've been on hold for a long time, and I'm a working man. I'm a locksmith. I got to go pop this car open. Can you come back to me in 5-10 minutes?
I'll
get down with you, but I just got this customer.
I got you, brother. No problem, man. Give it up for that brother hanging on, man. We got a locksmith who got a call from a customer, and I appreciate you, 561. I will come back to you. I won't hang up on you. 678. You're next up. How you doing, 678? You're live, Freedom Friday. What's your name? What's your comment? 678. We need you, 678. We just had a caller who has to work.
Hello, Tim Black.
Hey, how you doing, 678? What's going
on? This is Dave from Stone Mountain, man. How you doing?
Dave, what's up, man? How you feeling?
Yeah, I got me a new cell phone, man. I shut down the home phone, so we got a new number I'm calling from tonight.
Sweet.
First, I wanted to say thanks for sharing that Cornel West thing, man. He's something else. He's always a pleasure to listen to.
Always.
He's always on point. This is just going to be the craziest 2 years ever. I mean, 2016 was so incredible. It just lit a fire under so many people who've just been, Japan said something one time, we awoke a sleeping giant. And I think that's kind of what's happening now a little bit. People are starting to get the fog out of their eyes and sober up a little bit and start paying attention. But one of the things that we always talk about is how media is so busy. And, the comments with Omar Ilan, is that how you pronounce? I don't know how you pronounce her last name. I'm sorry. But she was criticizing Israel, and everybody pays attention to that. But she also said something recently. She said Obama got away with murder because of who he was. I was reading about that. I mean, I believe that's word for word what she says. That's incredible. Nobody says anything like that. Not in the media, not Congress people. And I notice we don't hear a lot about that. The only thing we hear about is her criticisms of Israel. And I talk to a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook. We all do. And I see a lot of people, they shut everybody out of the conversation. And, it's good to network with each other, you find people with common interests, you network with them, you organize, and that's great and all. But one of the things about only talking with people that believe the same philosophy as you is you're never going to turn a Trump supporter into a Trump supporter. You're never going to turn a Sanders supporter into a Sanders supporter. They already are. And so that's kind of the danger with just talking with people that are of your ideology. You're never actually going to make any progress. And none of these Trump supporters, when I talk to them, even know that Omar said that about Obama at all because of the narrative pushed by the media. I get a lot of people that tell me, the media hates Trump. Well, the media loves Trump. Cable media was going broke until Trump came around, and now he's the best thing that ever happened to them. They love him. And they make their money like a tabloid would, pushing the most extreme narrative of everybody to get views. I mean, basically, that's what media is clickbait now. You think clickbait is something on the internet, but clickbait is what CNN and Fox News is. They find the most outlandish version of anybody they can find, and they set a narrative, and they make us hate each other. They make us not talk to each other. And, it's just amazing that Omar said that President Barack Obama got away with murder because who he was. And you don't hear that from anybody at all. All you hear about is the Israel because that triggers everybody. And I just wanted to call and let everybody, the reason that people follow Trump is because they were already right-leaning. And Trump was the only person that said anything that remotely sounded like the truth during his campaign. And the left follow Clinton because she says things that they like to hear. And the reason people keep falling for these idiots is because they're desperate for change. They really want someone to lead this country like the way one of us would. These elites, they're idiots. Nobody with $2 billion understands what normal people problems are, much less how to solve them, nor could they ever understand the dire need for those problems to be solved. But, Tim, I just wanted to call and urge everybody to talk to the people that aren't like you. When I get online and I talk to Trump supporters, I get blocked by 20 of them before I even say, hey, I'm Dave. But then once I say, hey, look, man, I didn't come here to insult you or argue with you. I just wanted to have a normal conversation with you like a decent human being. And I treat them with respect. You guys, I'm telling you, they will listen. And even if you don't change their minds, if you do what Tim says and drop some facts on them, they will think about it. They will say, well, maybe he had a point that one time about this thing. And so, I don't want to drag on, but I want to tell you guys, do not block people out. Not all of us can be Bernie Sanders and lead a revolution. Maybe a lot of our jobs is just to talk to people and say, hey, look, man, England has problems. The UK has problems. Some of their people die because of their system, but not near as many die as they do in the United States of America. Their system isn't perfect, but it's more perfect than ours. 30,000 people die so millionaires and billionaires can make money off sick, dying people in the United States of America. That is fucking retarded. Healthcare is one of those things you cannot do for profit. It is completely conflicting. It's like freedom. You can't have a two-tier system of freedom because it's a matter of life and death. You'll have one class of people having slaves of other people. We've been there. We saw it doesn't work. You can have a good hamburger and I can have a shitty hamburger, and that's one thing. But you can't have a two-tier healthcare system because it creates such a disparity that people are going to kill one another eventually. And so I just want to tell you guys, talk to people. Don't block them out. Be respectful. Talk to them, and they will listen.
Give it up, Dave. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you, man. Good to hear from you as always, my friend. Dave's got a good point, man. Sprinkle some facts on him. That was one of the cornerstones of this channel, and I try to encourage people to sprinkle some facts. That means you don't try to beat a dead horse. You don't try to convince people against their will. You don't sit there and argue with them. You don't look down on them. You don't punch down. You don't belittle them. You don't slander them. You don't call them Sambos and coons and idiots and sheep. And I had to learn not to call people sheep because that was one of my things. You sheep, don't be a sheep. But I learned that wasn't a good tactic for getting people to join in and being receptive to my my opinions. So Dave is right. But he's wrong about Ilhan Omar. I had to look it up because I did see what you said, and I wanted to get her statement, the quote, correct, right? The quote was, Obama was a pretty face who got away with murder. That was the quote. So when I looked up the quote to try to just clarify what her statement was about Obama, I was introduced to this article that says, Representative Ilhan Omar says her criticism of President Obama was distorted. Yeah, so much for that, right? Says here basically that she said her words were taken out of context. She was in an interview that she gave to Politico. She said, while it is right to criticize Trump and the policies of his administration, she also feels that there are ways that our Democratic leaders have conducted themselves within the system is not one that we are all proud of. I will talk about the family separation of Cajun kids, and people will point out that this was Trump. This was Obama. I'll say something about the droning of countries around the world, and people will say that was Obama. And all of that is very true. Omar, who posted the audio of the specific portion of the interview on Twitter. We can't only be upset with Trump because he's not a politician who sells us his policies in the most perfect way. His policies are bad. But many of the people who came before him also had really bad policies. They just were more polished than he was. And that's not what we should be looking for anymore, Omar said. We don't want anybody to get away with murder because they are polished. We want to recognize the actual policies that are behind the pretty face and the smile so that we can understand the kind of negative impact or positive impact they will have on us for generations to come. I don't know why she would walk that back. That seems like a very acceptable statement to make. I think it's a real statement. I think it's also something that you would hear somebody like myself say, or Jimmy Dore say, or Kim Iverson say. Or, yeah, it's not like a earth-shattering statement. Now, there's some people you never hear say it, right? We won't even name those people. But there are people in independent media who would never speak as boldly as Representative Ilhan Omar. So I'm sad for her that she would have to walk back a statement that was obviously so on point, so accurate. But hell, she had to walk back her comments about the lobbyist of Tupac, Tupac's lobbyist. And if you know what I'm talking about, I'm not talking, Tupac, all eyes on me. Not him, but Tupac. It rhymes with Tupac. Pointing out that they're a lobbyist organization, which they obviously admit that's what they do. Spend money to get people to vote the way they want them to vote to influence policy. They're not the only one, but that's what they do. Then she would have to walk that back as if that was hateful towards individual people when we're talking about an organization. It's like saying I hate the NFL. That doesn't mean you hate black guys. I hate the NBA. That doesn't mean you hate black guys. I hate the hockey league. That means you hate white guys. No, it just means it's an organization. What am I missing here? Oh, that's right. I'm not a hypocrite. That's what it is. I'm not a hypocrite. All right, so I'm going to go to the next call. Thank you, Dave from Stone Mountain, for laying in there, for weighing in there, man. And, yeah. So I got to come back. Oh, the BuzzFeedification of our news media. That's what it is. The buzzification of our news media is a very prevalent thing. It's a disgusting thing. And that's why a lot of our media is full of it, right? So they want to print sensationalism because, as you stated, it's all about the dollar. Dollar bill, y'all. That goes all the way back to Bill Clinton with the Telecommunications Act of 1996. So we are here today trying to, luckily we have the internet for as long as we have it. We'll see, right? As we try to wrestle the internet back away from those corporations and these lobbyists and these organizations trying to take over the internet because they want to control that because they realize we now have a vehicle where we can communicate, where people like I can speak up and you can listen and you can speak up like you're doing right now, and this is all because of the internet. So they want to control that because this is a means of communication that is unthwarted by them. They can't control the narrative, and we can have these kind of frank, honest conversations. Well, we don't have to apologize for what we say. Unfortunately, like Ilhan Omar just had to do. I'm going to the next call. So, 561? Yeah, I wonder if 561's is back. I'm not sure. Let me try this 954 first. 954, you're live Freedom Friday. What's your name? What's your comment? Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Yes, can you hear me?
I hear you just fine. What's your name, my friend? You're live on Freedom Friday.
Okay, just a second. This is Julian calling from South Florida.
Julian, what's up, man?
How you doing, man? Nice show. Thanks a lot for your show. Thank you for opening the airways for people to speak. I just want to quickly say that, especially remind people, because I think it's just incredible that a lot of people right now are campaigning. Democrats are campaigning. Again, just like if it was 2016, like nothing had ever happened. Like they don't know that the elections were rigged. All these issues that happened, they rigged the elections for Tim Canova. So nobody's really talking about election integrity. It's like people forgot about that. Whatever happened to election integrity, about, your vote counts. So, just wanted to mention that there. Also, on the whole issue on the very much this divisive agenda of the duopoly. Right now, I think it's very easy for many of us to really talk to conservatives or people, but the problem is that there's this agenda of just focusing on divisive issues, and that's where they want to keep us because they want to maintain this divisive agenda, putting one against each other, and it never ends. But it's very easy for us to really understand that there's a common goal. We can actually focus on specific issues that we all agree on, and regardless, really, even parties. So I think that's an important thing to look at, just that we actually can come together, really work with whoever it is, the conservative, Green Party, establishment, obviously progressive Democrats, and we all fighting against the establishment. And I think recently what happens with Omar, the whole thing of anti-Semitism, I think it's a thing that it was long overdue. Nobody speaks about that because they're afraid. They're afraid about mentioning the words anti-Semitism, and it's always being used to this, to try to silence people. So I'm really glad that Omar put this out there, and now a lot of people are talking about it. We have Jewish Voices for Peace, Jewish Voices for Peace, who are really doing a lot of work on this. And also the issue of Venezuela, that also was a big issue. People are here in South Florida were really afraid to speak out about this, but he came out, and right now a lot of people are noticing that the importance of supporting the Venezuelan government there, and how things are the different side of the story. We're completely against intervention, and all the things that are happening right now, where there's Trojan horse, humanitarian aid. So people notice that. So I think it's a lot of things that are important now that are going on, and overall I think it's really good for the progressive movement. So thanks so much for taking my call, too.
Oh man, you got it. Thank you for calling in, brother. I appreciate it. Absolutely. 856. What happened to my guy that was on hold? 856, you're live on Freedom Friday.
Hey, Tim, this is True.
Hey, True, what's going on?
Hey, I just had some questions about Cornel West and the reparations discussion.
Sure, go ahead.
So I love Dr. Cornel West, but I think he's wrong. I think a lot of us are wrong in regard to this reparations discussion. Barack Obama had America's ear for 8 years, and he still has America's ears. I think to myself all the time, what would have happened if every time he took the podium, he gave America an education, right? When Colin Kaepernick was protesting, Barack Obama could have stood on a podium and talked to America about the history of African Americans and the police, right? Starting out with slave patrol and going from there, right? Barack Obama commissioned this report on the Baltimore police corruption, and it came back that they were highly corrupted. So I just always think to myself, where would America be today if the most influential politician educated the nation slowly over time? And I see the discussion or the topic of reparations in the same way, meaning we have the opportunity to have such a great conversation and an era of educating the nation. You know that we're not talking about the real atrocities of slavery in school. You know the average American does not know about the 100 years of domestic terrorism and housing discrimination. And so reparation is just, it's this great medium, this great tool that we can actually use to heal the nation. Everyone's starting the reparations topic off with, well, how much is it going to cost? That's last. How can you put a price on something that hasn't been studied yet? And why is no one thinking about this being a great opportunity for the nation to actually heal itself? And so Dr. Cornel West, I love him, but I feel like it's a little cowardly to say, I'm going to support Bernie Sanders. And then, if he warms up to the idea of talking about reparations, no. because AIPAC doesn't do that, right? AIPAC puts their agenda forth. And AIPAC says, if you want our support, well, this is what we need. And then in turn, the U.S. actually signed a contract with AIPAC for like $38 billion. So I'm wondering why, like, progressive Black leadership, Black media is not using this opportunity to really push the discussion of reparations. And also understand that money flows in and out of politics and in and out of America all the time. And we should not keep putting ourselves on the back burner. We should try to use some of the power of the Black vote the way other lobbyists and special interest groups do. And really push, number one, for the discussions to happen. And then number two, for really innovative and exciting in which reparations can happen. Do you understand what I'm saying, Tim?
I do, but I disagree with you.
I live in New York City, okay? In New York City, we've closed about 12 prisons in the last decade. You're telling me an innovative, comprehensive reparations package could not easily be converting those prisons into high-tech schools for African-American children. Chicago also has 49 closed schools. You're telling me that Barack Obama could figure out how to build a presidential library that spans blocks in Chicago, but we can't open and renovate those 49, 50 schools and turn them into emerging technology centers for Black students.
Okay. Hey, look, I gotta leave I gotta leave it there, sister. I appreciate your comment. I will respond to it. I appreciate it. I think I don't disagree with reparations. Okay, I'm Black media. I don't disagree with reparations. I think reparations is a good thing. I think it should have happened many, many years ago as well. And I believe it should happen tomorrow if possible. Okay, so I'm on the record. As saying I'm Black media and I believe in reparations. Okay, I think I think you got rose-colored glasses on regarding what people are really, what their intentions are. I think that, and also, I had to learn just how racist America is, frankly. I don't think it's so much that people don't understand what Black people have been through. I think people don't want to be held, people don't want it to come out of their pocket, whatever it is. So you know, on one side you say, hey, well, you know, there's this money, it shouldn't be about the money, but then you're bringing up money about, you know, it's going to take money. So it is about a payment. So let's make that clear. And I think that there are a lot of Americans, a lot of white folks, a lot of Latino folks who are not even talking. We usually have this conversation. We're always thinking black and white. A lot of Asians, a lot of Native Americans, a lot of other people all in the country who don't feel like they should be responsible for it. Though I agree with you, and I'm sure you would say, you pay for stuff all the time, or your government pays for stuff all the time that we don't agree on. I don't want us to have a space force. What's Space Force got to do with me? Nothing. But as part of the budget, I don't agree with drone strikes. I don't agree with arming moderate rebels I don't agree with regime change. So the whole argument that people argue about money, I think that the idea is right, but I think the way execution is where we have to actually deal with the people who think this coming out of their pocket. But I don't think a president has to lead that. I think that needs to be led by us. You know, I think for you to expect a president to lead the conversation on reparations, I don't think that makes sense. I don't think a president who leads that conversation can get elected. Okay? I just don't think that can happen. Now, I think it's possible that a president who gets elected and then has that conversation, I think that's cool. I think that's very possible. Get what I'm saying? Get what I'm saying? I don't think a president can get elected running on reparations. I just don't think it can happen. I think a presidential candidate for the Green Party can get nominated running on reparations like Jill Stein did and the John Baraka did. That's why I supported them last election cycle. If you want a candidate that will talk about reparations, there is a party that talks about it all the time. It's called the Green Party. But people don't want to support it. You talk about the Democratic Party. I'll repeat, I don't think a Democratic presidential candidate can win a nomination talking about reparations loudly and boldly like you said. Now, why didn't Obama talk about reparations? You'd have to ask Obama, but I don't think Obama was really there to help us. In fact, he said very plainly, he looked in the camera and said, I'm the president of America, I'm not the president of black people. And then he proceeded to do things for the gay community, to do things for DACA. That's what he proceeded to do, and to ignore black people for 8 years. So, well, just to wrap up, it's great to say, it would be great to have, a president lead the charge on reparations, that would be great to have, but is that the reality of what we're going to have? And if I like a candidate's policies that they might be able to do, that they can win on, running on, why would you want me to support? Why would you want to force that candidate who has policies that can benefit us? Why would you want to force them into a corner knowing it's going to cost them not to be elected? Remember, the Democrats had the House and the Senate. They couldn't pass this damn resolution. Let's not even talk about Republicans, but you do realize there are Republicans in this country that would have to agree with this. Like, even if an executive order was written, it would be overturned in court. Like, you can't just executive order this, right? Unless I'm missing something. So, if we got a Republican Party that we know won't sign it, we had a Democratic Party that had the House and the Senate back under Obama, they couldn't even pass the resolution, even bring it to create it as a bill. And this is just to look at it. This is not even reparations. This is just the idea of looking at it and doing a study at what reparations would even look like. That's why I say I am not comfortable with saying, well, if Bernie doesn't support this, then forget Bernie, throw Bernie out of here, get him out of here. You can do whatever you want to do. There are people who don't vote for a lot of reasons. There are people who don't vote because they got up late. There are people who don't vote because they had their rights stripped away. There are people who don't vote because the damn voting booth lost their vote. That happens all the time. There are people who don't vote for all types of reasons. Okay? Half of America doesn't vote. What I have a problem with is people imagining in their mind that them saying I'm not going to vote is going to change something. I don't think the Democrats give a damn if you vote or not as much as you think they do. I think you holding your vote away from a candidate who may have policies that benefit us, all people, but particularly black people, because that's what we're talking about now, because they're not voting, they're not being vocal on an issue that we care about, I think is not thinking long term. And I think that Bernie Sanders has the most progressive policies of any president of the last 40 or 50 years. And that's not just me talking. That's other people talking. And you can look at the policies and make that determination for yourself. So I think to say you think it's cowardly, I don't think it's cowardly at all. I think it's a reality that we live in a country, which is America, in this time, in 2019, and this is where we are, and this is what we have to deal with. I wish it was a different way. I think we should support reparations and we should fight for it. I do not believe that our fighting for it or not should determine who becomes our nominee, because I think it's going to take more than that to get reparations to begin with. All right? Hell, we can't even get the damn resolution that's been sitting in the House of Representatives for the past 30, 40 years. We can't even get that done. All right? So, and I hate to be a Debbie Downer. Once again, I support reparations. If you think going, well, I'm not going to eat until I'm going on a hunger strike is going to change it, it's not. You will die. They will let you die, woman. They will let you go ahead and go on a hunger strike. Well, I'm not going to eat since you're not going to pass reparations. You will die, and people will be stepping over your corpse first. Okay? That's the way I see it. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm more jaded than you. Okay? The Democratic Party was very comfortable with having Trump, who they detest, to the point where they pushed Hillary. They were willing to lose with Hillary than win with Bernie Sanders. I don't know why people don't see that as a reason why. One of the main reasons why I got to support Bernie Sanders' campaign. If the DNC hates him, I love him, right? I also love Andrew Yang. I also love Tulsi Gabbard. I like what Elizabeth Warren is talking about. I need to look further into them. There are other candidates joining. There's Hickenlooper. I know nothing about Hickenlooper. I don't know anything about Inslee or whatever. There's other candidates I haven't looked at yet. So, but I'm just saying, that's my point of view. Once again, I believe that the American descendants of slaves deserve reparations. I felt that way in 2016. I felt that way in 2012. It's not a new thought. How do we get that done? How does that become possible? I think that we need to be holding our Congress people responsible for it. It needs to be a bill first, and they can't even get this shit passed. Is your congressperson, have they signed on to the resolution? Mine has. Has your congressperson signed on to that resolution? Everybody needs to be kicking their congressperson in the ass and getting them out of there if they're not signing on to that resolution. It's going to take a lot of work to get this done. I'm down for the work. I just believe Medicare for all is worth fighting for. I just believe free college tuition is worth fighting for, sister. I just believe that ending these interventionist wars we're spending trillions of dollars on is worth ending that. It's worth fighting for. Okay? That's it. I just believe that. So, and that doesn't make me a sellout or a coon or a sambo or a coward. I get up and say controversial shit every day. I don't know what you do for a living. I know what I do for a living. It's this. And it could be done from a much better studio around in a much better situation with a much bigger paycheck, right? But I choose to speak truth to power. The idea that me not supporting throwing Bernie to the wolves on this issue, that I don't think is going to change this issue, makes me a coward. Well, I got a problem with that because I'm the furthest thing from a coward. Some of these people who are talking shit have jobs where they do unspeakable things for a living. What do they do? You got one guy up here 6 months ago was making videos about how to pimp a woman or whatever, and now he's leading a political march. I mean, come on, man. But if I don't push as hard as him, who has no skin in the game at all, no skin in the game at all, not even telling people how unrealistic it is to get this done in this cycle. The only reason why they're even talking about reparations is to hurt Bernie Sanders. The only reason why they're having a full-throated discussion about reparations right now, sister, is to hurt Bernie Sanders. And it's not because it's him. It's not because he's old Jewish dude, though he would be the first Jewish president ever elected. He never talks about that. But that's not why. The reason why
90 seconds
is his policies. They don't want those policies. And like I said, they'd rather lose with Trump. So we'll see what happens. But I love you. I got a number of love for you, but don't call me a coward. I'm far from a coward. And don't hit me with the you're a sellout, because I'm not selling out. I've been talking about police shootings and police brutality for almost 6-7 years. And I can't go back to corporate America because I've been actually standing up every day out, every time out, speaking truth to power, calling out the injustices in Palestine.
60 seconds.
From calling out the injustices in Palestine to calling out corrupt police brutality and corruption in Philly and Chicago. I've been doing that work for 6-7 years without even a paycheck. So I'm not a coward. It's just that we have a difference of opinion. I'm getting tired of people labeling us that way just because we disagree. And to say that Cornel West, who's been jailed repeatedly for standing up for disenfranchised people, for black people, for white people, for LGBT people, for all people for 20, 30 years, for you to call him a coward just because he sees it different than you, then I don't get how you can even do that. I don't understand, man. I don't understand it. Where does it come from? Where does it come from? How can we just shit on people like Cornel West, who've been fighting a good fight for 30, 40 years because somebody put out a hashtag and has to talk some shit for the last 6 months, and now we're going to throw away our people who have been fighting the fight? We're going to shit on people like me who've been doing this work? Now I'm no good to you? Now I'm garbage, I'm a coward, I'm a sellout? What you been doing the last 7 years, the last 6 years? There have been shows that I've done on this channel where I'm not just going white supremacy, white supremacy. I'm speaking real truth to power about real shit that's going on in this country. When I was speaking through my blinds thinking they was coming to get me and my family. And you're going to call me a coward because I disagree with the tactics that you choose to employ to reach to try to solve a problem that has existed for 40 years, 50 years, hell, to keep it real, for the last 150 years. And now I'm a coward because I see it a different way in the way that we should approach it. Even when I tell you in spirit I agree with you, and even though I tell you that I do support the effort, I just think we need to go about it a different way, because I think that if it's just a possibility that my kids or my grandkids can have free local college tuition, I think we shouldn't just throw that away over this, because I think it's going to take more than just a Bernie Sanders to get reparations passed in this country. I don't know. All right. That's it, man. That's it. I said enough. I think I've been on a long enough rant on it. I support reparations. I don't support that attitude, though. The attitude that we need to cancel people, that we need to get rid of people, that people are now somehow cowards. You know, there are people who are cowards, man. There are sellouts. You know, let's get it straight with these who those people are. They're the people on MSNBC who tried to co-opt the reparations movement. How about those people, the people that lie to us on a daily basis in order to suit their donors? Those are the people, or the people that lie to keep a job, who do that every day, on the day in and the day out, who get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to lie to the masses every day. Those are the sellouts. Those are the coons. Those are the Sambos. Those are the traitors. Not the people that just happen to disagree with you, but fight next door to you, just fight elbow to elbow with you, or for you on issues that you care about every day. I don't get how you can just draw that conclusion. I don't get it. It would have been great if Obama would have sat up and talked about whatever. He was a Wall Street pandering. This man went down to Michigan. He went down to Flint and knew them babies was getting poisoned. Looked them people in the eye. Those people thought he was coming down there to help them because he had brown skin. He went down there, looked in their eye, made a couple of jokes, and took his lanky ass back to D.C. Yeah, it'd be nice. There'd be a lot of things. It'd be nice if a lot of things would happen. You understand what I'm saying? It'd be nice if a lot of things would happen. Oh, man, I got a grocery list of things that I think should happen. But a country that will let 21 vets commit suicide every day. A country where over 100 people overdose every day from opiates. White people. You think that country gives a shit if you say, oh, I'm not going to vote because, well, you won't give me reparations? No. It's a long fight, sister. That's all I'm saying. Don't shoot your fellow combatants in the back if they're not deserting you. We ain't deserting you. We just see a different tactic, a different strategy. All right, guys, that's all I got, man. That's all I got. Lord have mercy. But I'm going to go to the next phone call. I do got a couple phone calls. A couple people hung in there with me. Let me go to the next call. I got a 301 phone number in the queue. Hold on, is this 561? Let me try this 561 number. 561, are you still there?
Yeah, that's me. Sorry, the phone call dropped, so I had to call back.
I was wondering what happened to you, man.
Thanks for taking my call.
No doubt, man.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you, brother. Go right ahead.
All right. Let me address this reparations thing, I guess, to start it off with. If you think the narrative of Bernie doesn't support reparations is worse publicly than the narrative that they would push on him if he decided 1, 2, 3, 100%, I'm all in on reparations, regardless of my point of view on it, the narrative that's going to be spun is that white people are going to think Bernie is the candidate that just wants to give a bunch of money to black people. And unfortunately, while race relations have come a long way in this country, it's going to take a lot longer for black people as a culture to be seen by white people as anything but to give an example, I've got these neighbors. I lived to them 15 years now almost, mid-60s, and just a couple of months ago, he doesn't have enough sense to not sit there next to me and say, well, when my daughter brought home a black guy, I only told her that, you know, I've never seen a red bird and a blue jay be together. And I, as a mixed person sitting right there next to him, living next to him for 15 years, knowing he's got a good heart, knowing he's a good person, knowing we've always looked out for one another, he's got this idea in his head from being a mid-60-year-old white guy. And it's like and I'll drink with them on the weekends, and we'll talk, and I try to bring them, you know, a little bit further to seeing the light. And he's only ever going to come so far. So the narrative that it would get pushed on Bernie would be detrimental to anything to everything in the progressive movement, because he's the best chance we have of getting anything done, regardless if it's for specifically black people or specifically white people. And I think what Cornel West was trying to say is that he feels Bernie is not a racist person, and he's open to having conversations about how to correct the problems and the atrocities that have been done. Now, part of Bernie, and it might be racist to say, but probably the Jewish part of Bernie is not going to let him say, I'm for anything, without looking at the cost of it. And that might be racist to me to say, but come on, he's going to look at the cost of it. It's not outlandish for us to think he's going to say anything other than that. And a smart politician is going to have to see that black people haven't come far enough in the eyes of white people for them to think that the black people they know aren't anything but the exception to the mass. And it sucks that it has to be that way. And I live in South Florida. These white people grew up around more diversity than I had ever seen in my life before I moved down here. And I'm mixed. So that's my rant on the reparations thing. You still with me, Tim?
Yeah, I'm still with you, man. I thank you for sharing your thoughts on the matter, man. It's a tough situation. It's a tough dilemma that we're dealing with when we talk about it, but we got to talk honestly about it.
And I talk with a lot of people that are Republicans, a lot of people that are Democrats, and it seems like when I talk to people, talk to my mother, and she's loves the Democrats, will never vote Republican again. But if I try to illuminate her to the corruption that is there, all of a sudden I'm defending right-wing politics, and that's not what I'm trying to do. And if I'm talking to my right-wing people, all of a sudden I get lumped in with the corruption of the Democratic Party, and that's not where I'm coming from either. So to find truth and honesty and to have the point of view of a progressive isn't put out into the public nearly enough. You have to actually go searching for it, and it can be lonely sometimes, feeling like anybody you talk to just isn't educated enough to talk to you.
Yeah, politics is a dirty game, man, and that's what some people are kind of not. I think they don't. Thank you once again for the call, man. Thank you for calling while you were on the job and then calling back in, man. But I got to let you go and go to the next call. I just want to say that, I think what people are looking for is not a politician. They're looking for an activist. All right? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for an activist. And that's a different thing altogether. I think that's what we need, right? I think we need an activist out in front. And that's got to be somebody willing to die for this. Got to be willing to die for it. That's what our activists have had to do historically, is die for what they believe in. So that's what we need. I'm going to go to the next call. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you for calling in. I got a 301 number in the queue. Hey, 301, you're live on Freedom Friday. How you doing?
Hey, is it me?
That's you. How you doing?
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm
It's
good.
Gidget. I'm calling from Columbia. First of all, you're no coon. You are very intelligent, and we rely on you and your insight, and you've really been doing a great job. I wanted to say I support reparations as well, But we all know that there's so many layers of societal problems that need to be addressed. And I think that Bernie has a plan, if he's allowed to address them. There's attitudes that need to change. When you think back to Obama becoming president, it was historical. But one of the effects was resentment and anger, culminating in sentiments like, we need to take our country back, or you guys have a black president. What's the problem now? With Obama's election, we're now a post-racial society. When you think of a time when blacks were being self-sufficient and enjoying towns such as Rosewood or Greenwood that had Black Wall Street, everything was burned down. We have dog whistles that need unsounding, such as the ones that have led to rampant police brutality. I think Bernie has an agenda to address this. I think he's going to do a great job, and it's nothing wrong with trying to tackle problems, societal problems, so that everybody can get along and so that we can have, a society that is not at each other's throats. So, I'd like to give Bernie a chance as well. And I can wait a bit longer on a reparations check if it means that a black person's going to survive a traffic stop. So I just want to call and support you and just tell you you're doing a great job. I'm so sorry people have been calling you those crazy names. You are so far removed from that. And that's just what I wanted to say.
Well, I want to thank you so much for saying it. I really appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. Wow, that I needed to hear that like right now, because it's like my heart's nowhere. Like I'm not even. I agree. I agree. It just sucks because like I've heard these guys that say things. I've heard black guys, and white guys, but black guys. Blame Tamir Rice, the 11-year-old, the 12-year-old who got shot in the head in less than 3 seconds. I was the guy on the other side arguing against the cops. But all of a sudden, people call me these names because I think that Bernie's a candidate that can do a lot of good for this country and for my people. But we disagree on that. We disagree on that. But I got a problem with that framing. I don't think it's accurate. But I want to thank you for calling in and saying that. Yeah, our media. There's a Dr. Joy DeGruy that everyone needs to check out. If you don't know who Dr. Joy DeGruy is, you must check out Dr. Joy DeGruy's information, her books about slavery, not just about slavery, but about the mental cost, the mental toll, the physical toll of slavery on black people and on white people, on us all, and how that has affected us, and how the idea of this white supremacy, how it has shaped our lives, and how it has infiltrated us, and how it was spread, and how these lies. And I'll tell you, man, the media is one of the culprits in this whole mix, because there are white people who don't even know black people, but have a certain idea about black people based on what they've seen in the media, and it's not by accident. Okay, it's not by happenstance. This is an intentional propaganda is spread to give people their certain stereotypical ideas about one another. So I hold the media very, very, very much accountable for a lot of the division that people talk about, a lot of the deep-seated racist hatred and the bigotry and all of this garbage. I mean, the media perpetuates a lot of it, guys. So I'm going to go to the next call. I want to thank everybody for calling in. 253. You're live on Freedom Friday. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hey, Tim, this is Sharon.
Hey, Sharon.
In Tacoma. I'm so happy to get to talk to you because I just want to back up what you've said to the last few callers regarding the reparations. I think it should have been done a long time ago, personally, but it will come.
Okay. Are you cool? What if it comes next week? If it comes next month, is that okay with you?
Pardon?
If it would have happened next month.
If it comes next week, I'm way cool with that.
There you go. You need to say that because people will think, "Oh my God, is she cool with that or whatever?" But I hear you, sister.
Oh no. I'm an old lady. Okay, I'm 73.
Congratulations.
and I'm multiracial. But most people recognize me or think that I'm white. And I didn't learn that I was not just white until I was 60 years old.
Wow.
So it's been a long thing for me.
Well,
but I was raised in a really racist household that told us that we were white, et cetera, and so forth. And I'm not just talking that I'm European and black. I'm also Asian and Native American.
All right. You're not that Elizabeth Warren. You're not that Elizabeth Warren Native American, are you?
Yeah. I mean, not for myself. Not enough Native American to get any money out of it, but when I told my kids, because my children's father was almost half a native, they said, "We don't need that money. Let it go to the people that need it."
I hear you, sister. I definitely do.
It's what do I care about what taxes I pay to restore what is needed for people today? I only use the public transportation, and I see people on the bus every day that are in need, in way more need than I am. And it breaks my heart. Oftentimes I see someone, I saw a man once on the bus that came on the bus with a backpack and a sleeping bag hooked to his backpack.
Absolutely.
He was with a walker. And all I had in cash on me was $2. As I left the bus that day, I handed it to him and I said, "I just hope this helps you somehow. If I had more, I would give it to you." Right. It just breaks my heart when I see people in need, and it includes everyone, no matter what their race is.
Absolutely.
That are in need, and so many people are in need today.
Right.
And I don't have a lot of money. I have a little money, but I live fairly conservatively, and just try to help who I can.
Well, sister, I want to say thank you for the phone call. And I want to also say thank you for the folks that you help with what you have, because that's really what what matters, right? It's not how much you give, is that you do give, that you give from the heart, right? So it's always a tough conversation when we talk about anything race related, but we need to have these conversations. And the reality is, the preceding caller wasn't totally wrong. It's like, you're not wrong, and there is a dire situation going on in Black America right now that has been going on for many years. The racial, the income equality, or the income inequality gap, the wealth gap, the racial wealth gap, I should say. That's what Antonio Moore would say. Tim, the racial wealth gap. If you're going to talk about it right. All right, so it's so vast between what black folks, the wealth that black folks have and the wealth that white folks have, is so vast. You could drive 3 tractor trailers through it. Like, it's the disparity is so abundant, okay, that the quality of life for black folks is no comparison with that of white folks. You have to understand. So I understand that. I do. I get that totally all the way. We need to all understand. What happens is, in America, this is just me spitballing now, right? You want a real breakdown of it? Go watch Yvette Carnell and Antonio, right? Antonio, Tone Talks. And I'm not, and I'm not ashamed to say that, because that's what they've been talking about for a couple of years now. I just think that the majority of Americans are so busy seeing Jay-Z and R. Kelly and Oprah Winfrey and Damon Dash and, Denzel Washington and Samuel Jackson, of seeing certain black people do so well that they don't realize that those people are anomalies. That those people are, those people are like, it's like you seeing Bigfoot walk out of the woods and come sit down and have a hamburger or bring you a picnic basket. You understand? This is, those people, that's not regular. Okay, I was reading something the other day where it says that 1 out of 7 white families has a millionaire in it. Median. I mean, they have it's not based, like, you can count the 7 white families and find no millionaire in that family. But I'm saying, basically, you put all white families in America and you just laid them all out and you shook them all up, right, from all over the country, and you could find one at every 7. Okay, that was the average, 1 out of 7. You could do 1 out of 50 for black folks. So the disparity is, and it's not getting better, it's getting much worse. All right? And the wealth is just people having wealth and people having jobs are not the same thing. There's another thing. People think that because a black person got a job, a person's doing well. But if you don't own property, you don't have accruable assets that appreciate, not depreciate. They think because somebody got a car. I remember when I was a kid going to next door selling candles, and the owner of the house said something about me having tennis shoes on, because they equated my tennis shoes like, oh, they're doing pretty good. They got on tennis. Look, he's got nice Nikes on. They're equating stuff like shoes with wealth. No. So the policies of the American policies of the American government, not of you as an individual, have put black people in such a predicament that we don't have the wealth that we should have, and we help build that wealth. We were, as I think Antonio put it, we have been the shoes. We have been the shoes that America has worn to create, to build this country. We are the gloves that they used. Get it? That's what started. So we just want something for that. And then if you're going to hold back a people for such an extended amount of time for being able to build those businesses and be able to buy that land, being able to own that property, then there should be some type of setting straight. There needs to be some type of reparative process in that. I'm just saying, I like Bernie's policies. Him saying that now would not help him get elected. And as quiet as is kept, Bernie does better with black folks than he does with white folks. I did a video on this yesterday. Look it up. Bernie Sanders polls better with black voters than white voters. People don't like to talk about it, but black folks, black men and black women vote for Democrats in a higher percentage than white folks. No one wants to talk. I don't know why people want to talk about it. They love saying black women support, they are the backbone of the Democratic Party. Well, who's number 2? Black men. Black men. So I understand what we want to say. We want something for our vote, and I agree with that. I want policies that we can get done. I don't want us to say he got to push this legislation that's not even legislation yet, or we're not going to put him in the office. All right, that's enough, man. I've talked long enough. I want to thank everybody who called in tonight. I really appreciate you. I just want to make sure that we're clear about where I stand, and I think I got it where you stand. I think I understand what you mean and where you're coming from. there's never a perfect time to say it, right? But I think our enemy is information. I just do. I think our enemy, and what I mean is lack of information. Our enemy is a lack of information and false information and propaganda that gets generated and spread across this internet at lightning speed, right? So but the only combatant to that isn't less information, it's more information. But information is actually accurate. Information is actually informational that educates people. That's what's needed. So when you say we need to fight back and we need to, I don't care what your issue is, if it's environmental, if it's cleaning up our environment, if it's climate change, if it's, children being trafficked, whatever your issue is, whatever cause you have, whatever keeps you up late at night or gets you up early in the morning, whatever that thing is, I believe we need more people who are talking about it, who are spreading the word about it, who are letting others be informed, making other people informed and aware about it. I think that's what needs to happen. That's what I believe, and that's why I do what I do. I hope that you become a member of this show, right? Member of this show, become a member of the Tim Black Wolf Pack. Join me because, I really believe in what I do, guys. This is not, I'm just doing this till I, do something else, or this is what I do. And one day, we're going to have a staff of people that are spitting and keeping it real and speaking truth to power and leading causes and owning boots on the ground, talking to people. That's what I want. That's my goal, and I would love, I look forward to being able to do that in the future, and I look forward to you being a part of it. So join me, TimBlackTV.com. Go to Patreon.com, Tim Steak Live, or do it here on YouTube. You can always contact me at Real Tim Black on Facebook and Twitter. You can always email me at Tim@TimBlackTV.com. I might not get back to you right away, but I'm going to get back to you, okay? And look, we have hard conversations sometimes. Don't forget, Sunday, tune in to CNN so you can check out Tulsi Gabbard, a candidate who I believe is amazing, and I think she's on the right path, and I want to support her every bit, every step of the way. Tulsi2020.com, Tulsi2020.com. And then watch her on the Colbert Report on Monday. And, I think that's enough, right? Let me go to YouTube and see if anybody's hanging out on YouTube. And see if anybody left me a super chat. I got a conversation. I got to mention something. Cool Blue 71. What'd you say, Cool Blue 71? No member of Congress who voted for the Vietnam or Iraq was later elected president. The last two losing Democrats, John Kerry and Hillary Clinton, voted for Iraq. Want to make it 3 in a row with Joe Biden? Do you want to make it 3 in a row with Joe Biden? That's funny, man. I mean, you know what I mean. It's one of those weird realities, right? It's like weird reality. But you're right. You're right. I didn't think about that. I did think about the fact that he's run 3 times prior to this, so he want to be a 4-time loser and want to take your vote along with it. If here's the deal. If Joe Biden becomes the nominee, then let's have a litmus test. You got nothing to lose if it's Joe Biden. If Joe Biden somehow, if they steal the election and give it to Joe Biden, I'm all for it. A reparations or bust, all right? I'm all for it. Because he ain't going to get in and do anything different than Obama did. He going to get in and probably do less than Obama did. You know what I'm saying? That's what he going to do. He going to get in and just be like, Wall Street, take some money, Wall Street. Here, just take all the money, Wall Street. Take it all. Did you get some over there? Come get some of this money. You get in here, get this money. That's what Joe Biden's going to do. So, just wait. Let's see who wins this thing because, we might be on to something. That is crazy. I got a 907 number in the queue. I don't even know. I thought I had a 907 talk earlier, but let me make sure, man, because I would hate to leave anybody out. 907, did you have a chance to speak yet?
No, honey, it's me, the old lady.
Hey, what you doing, Laura? Talk to me now.
Honey, I wanted to tell you, that I love you. And I love the heart you have. And you've been out there for a long time, and you're not alone. You know, you might not have a grandiose number of people or whatever is measured and whatever, but the people you have are real. I was going to talk about some other things earlier, but you know what? I just want to talk to your heart for a minute. You're a good man. And when they come at you like that, that's because you're doing the good stuff. That's when they come at you. Got to worry when they ain't talking about you. Don't you take none of their poison to heart. Don't you put it in your heart. Don't you put it in your spirit. Because that ain't right. You have every right to choose what you put in your spirit. And you don't pick up their ugliness and put it in your heart. Because it's a poison. Now, games are going to be played just like with this poor young lady, Ilhan Omar. And they're weaponizing anti-Semitism, okay? She's black. She's from Somalia. She's Muslim. Man, that scares them white cracker son of bitches to the hell of heaven. That young lady said something I've been talking. If you remember, the very first time I talked to you was about AIPAC. Yeah. And now 35 states have adopted laws that say we cannot speak on AIPAC. That goes against the First Amendment. All right. Now that's also going to be weaponized against Bernie. It's the only way they can go after a Jew is to say he's not Jew enough. Just like they're weaponizing reparations. As you said, it hasn't even gotten off the floor for 30 some odd years, honey. That don't mean it ain't going to, but something you said struck me right like lightning, honey. We need an activist, right? What has Bernie always been? Who did he chain himself to when they said those young kids had to be in those damn unheated and rat-filled little classroom thingies instead of being inside? He chained himself. He's been an activist all his life. You can go on YouTube all the way back to the 80s and see he's not talking anything different than he talks now. We get him in the house, and that man, between all the other young people, we start voting in, and we surround these young people with our voices. And the African Black Congress got in there, caucus got in there behind Ilhan, but they're not going to be finished with her. They want her off of that damn foreign affairs thing. There's a lot of machinations going on right now, and it's only going to increase. My only advice to anybody is turn off your goddamn television. Don't listen to any of that propaganda. Get in mind what you want in your heart, what you need to see for your people and your family, no matter what that is. And kind of do like a down ballot. All right, well, let's say Bernie's my number one, Tulsi's my number two. I support both of them financially for a little bit here until I can't do it. But whatever. The fact is we've got to stick together. This is divide and conquer at the highest level because these people are panicking. We are the last stages of empire. We are actually, people online are actually stopping an invasion in Venezuela by unmasking the machinations of that bastard who, oh my God, my brain, fuck it, we all know who he is. Elliot Abrams. He ran Contra. He literally was, along with Oliver North, convicted of war crimes, but pardoned. And now we got him voting in all of this ugly geopolitical stuff going on. AIPAC is a lobbyist group from Israel. We send over $3.8 billion to their military alone from our taxes to shoot and kill unarmed people. Now, so many people waking up on so many levels, it's got all of Washington just dizzy. Find your true north. stay to it. Don't let anybody divide us. And if they got ugly words to say, guess what? It don't fit you. You ain't a sellout. You ain't good. You aren't any more than I'm some old whatever. You know, some crackpot with a tinfoil hat on in Alaska. I don't care. There's something I've always lived by. Someone else's opinion ain't none of my business. If it don't directly affect me, it ain't none of my business. Just keep moving forward. Keep clear-eyed. Take a break from the internet, people. Take a break from all this saturation shit and take a nice walk in the, wherever it is with someone you love. Hopefully it's yourself. You love yourself. But, baby, don't you let them get you down. There's a lot of us who root for you, a lot of us who know who you are.
Thank you, Lord.
And we got some tough times ahead, 2 years. But you know what? If we all keep our heads about each other, quit acting like we got no sense and fighting with each other, that's how they're going to win. So just pick who you want. Oh, by the way, everybody who's listening, go to opensecrets.org. It'll tell you everything you ever needed to know about any candidate and how they voted. That'll help you clear up some questions you might have on your own.
That's right.
But anyway, I love you. You keep doing what you're doing. I'm looking forward to more of it, but I could tell you got it. You're sick. So I want you to take care of yourself. God damn it! Don't you let them poison you.
That's right.
Don't you let that shit poison your body and your spirit. Rebuke it. Put it behind you, and it just don't. You don't got the energy to be spending on that crap. You're a good man, and you know it. Your family knows, and everybody else who follows you knows it. And if they don't, then they can step the hell off. And you can tell the old fat lady in Alaska said so.
Thank you, Laura. I appreciate you. I love you so much. Thank you for calling up and always being a voice of reason for this show and dropping knowledge like you always do. Guys, go to opensecrets.org, I think it is, and check out what she said. She's right. Look up any candidate you want. You want to do some investigative work on your own, you got some time. You're tired of looking at cat videos, dog videos, people getting knocked out videos, what? Well, go to opensecrets.org and find out. Find out about these candidates. Find out what they're really about. Wow. Yeah, you know, I don't know, it just came over me, man. I know I should not let stuff get to me. But I just take it personal, man. I've been fighting. I'm a fighter. All right, guys, I love you. Once again, I'll see you soon. Don't forget, Sunday, tune in to Tulsi doing her thing. Also, there's marijuana, Tulsi Gabbard, and a Republican. God, Andrew, is it Young? I want to say, that doesn't sound right. That was a black politician. Okay, so there was two pieces of legislation leading to the legalization or the decriminalization of marijuana, cannabis, weed, sticky icky. Okay, and also one was so that we could study it. So we got to remove it from the schedule, right? So descheduling it so that it can be studied and used, and removing it. So anyway, she did that. Okay, so I know that got done like yesterday, I think it was. So anyway, a lot of great stuff's going on, guys. A lot more positive stuff is going on. Forget the negativity, like Laura said. Let's just keep it moving. And I'll see you soon. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Shout out to my moderators to keep it going and keep it moving. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for contributing to the show, Cool Blue 71, and everybody on Facebook. Yes. I got more content coming over the weekend, guys. We're going to be editing some stuff and putting some stuff out. So look forward to that. Don't forget to find me there and on YouTube and on Facebook. Hey, Uli. Yes. And, yeah. Peace, guys. Wow. It really is crazy. Now let's hope this. I'm hoping this thing's gonna work right. I've been having problems with it. Yeah. As usual.
Bye, Felicia.